Yeah, we find her, the beautiful girl we've been missing. We wanna have her kissing. We find her, now we in love. Say Gusto, the remix.
DMB, Tux Bites, remix.
Now if I had to lose you like a bad phone connection, I'd change my game to get a better reception. Sit back, let's start this interaction. Don't fight the feelings, just a chain reaction. Your heart won't give you the wrong instructions. Like my GPS, yes I got the right direction. We gotta merge together like a road intersection. Last stop is gonna be my love and affection. I ain't like the mother dudes, they wanna call you shorty, but I'ma call you a beautiful girl. I took your picture home, my mama saw it, she's a very, very beautiful girl. I wanna put you in my video, cause you're so beautiful. You're a beautiful girl. So when you hear us in your radio, turn up your stereo. It's beautiful girl.
Gotta find a shorty, what's worth of a lady. It's nice but maybe doesn't look like 40. It's taking a little time. I wasn't seeing no signs, any traces of my baby. Who's gonna be my baby? But I thought I'm gonna take my time. Within it took a long fun. I saw a shorty passing by. She's got this very pretty smile. It was right at the bus station. I tried to make a conversation, holding her arms, feeling so charmed. I felt the sensation. It's been a while that I've been trying to find a beautiful girl. Now I realize I found me a beautiful girl. She's a model, she's so fine. I just wanna take it by. Beautiful girl, sparkling eyes, a killing tight. I found me a beautiful girl.
Body me LP, oh yeah, nah. My wish came true when I saw you, girl. God must have blessed me with your beauty, girl. Looking so right from your head to your toe. Shaped like a cocoa bottle with a smile of a queen. My queen to be, you my destiny. Got a body of a goddess with your beauty. I'm impressed and I'm never in distress. Come on over and be mine. Been searching for a man and now all the cats keep looking to mine. With a sexy walk and a sexy talk, she must be from a planet called the sexy world. I know I ain't tripping, better yet I'm thinking put a ring on the finger. We look good together, take your place in my heart. With your beauty I'ma say that I'll never turn away. Who would think I'm in love?
Such the way she smiles at me just really makes me weak. The way she speaks to me just really make me go so weak. Keep staring in her eyebrows. All I kept on saying is wow. Your beauty shines and breeze at night. All I really want in my life. Oh yeah. It's been a while that I've been trying to find a beautiful girl. Fine, brown eyes. I found me a beautiful girl. She's my model, she's so fine. I just wanna take it. Beautiful girl, sparkling eyes, killing tight. I found me a beautiful girl. Yeah, beautiful girl, beautiful girl. Yeah. Beautiful girl.
Damn. Money, you seen her? Hot Ice, have you seen her? LP, have you seen her? I'ma go over to Tux Bites. I know you've probably seen her. He has a lot of beautiful girls with him. Tux, it's DMB, baby. Look,
Beautiful.
I look for a while, but I can't seem to find a beautiful girl so I can make her mine. Time after time, I've been searching for a while, but every girl I meet never seems worthwhile. What can I do? I pray to God for an answer. I feel pains in my heart like cancer, and when I find her, I'm gonna romance her. Lace of her presents and gifts, call me Santa Claus. I make her heartbeat pause. That's my girl, homeboy, not yours. The girl of my dreams, she's more than I ever thought. Show me ass and culture, I think I'm getting punked. She's what I really want, so I'ma go get her. Since I'm a go getter, you know I'm gon' get her. And I will give her the world, anything for my beautiful girl. Psych.
Ooh, it's been a while that I've been trying to find a beautiful girl. Fine, brown eyes. I found me a beautiful girl. She's my model, she's so fine. I just wanna take it. Beautiful girl, sparkling eyes, killing
touching and kissing, make love on the floor, the couch in the kitchen. One love enough, we done enough.
Man of prestige. Ha! Now this guy win. Now you win. Now you win today. Now you win. Now you win. I agree. Man of prestige. Now man you be.
I'm sure some people will be jealous now the way I talk about Ola. But I have learned a lot from him. That's why I keep telling you to follow him. If you don't follow Man of Prestige, now you know.
All right, what's going on? Let me make sure this camera is good. Lay back, relax. We're about to have a good time. We're going to react to some videos. Okay, welcome back. I hope you all are doing well. Okay, great. If you're watching replay later on, drop replay gang in the chat, in the comments, you know. But I'm just gonna relax, have a good time as I react to this. Relationship coaches are going at it online, and it's interesting because this also demonstrates what I'll be talking about all the time, that humans are just humans. Human beings no be your mates. All right, regardless of what it looks like on the surface, regardless of what kind of pedestal you might have placed them on, you know, we all get tested. And thank God, I always try to say here, I said all of us, we're all hypocrites. Right? I say that all the time, right? And I say that not to particularly put too much attention on the negative connotation in hypocrisy, but just so you can understand the nature of human beings, that pedestal you put yourself on, you're probably going to fall off of it. It's very, very important to pay attention to that as we move, as a power move. Okay, you just realize, you just tell yourself like, okay, I don't know everything. But today we're going to be talking about Tony Gaskins and a young man I just met his image on the internet yesterday, Ace Metaphor. I think I've seen his face, but I didn't know who Ace Metaphor was. I've seen some of the viral clips, but I've never really watched more than 1 second. Probably see it in passing because I'm also engaged in a lot of relationship content on the internet. But nonetheless, we're here to talk about this today because yesterday happened to be one of those few days that I just sat and I'm commenting inside the chat. You know, I think I go to Auntie B Obodo Yibo's platform once in a while to do that. But generally speaking, I don't have luxury of time like that. So yesterday happened to be one of those occasions that I just happened to be online. I was like, you know, and I even shout out to Chinye. Chinye even shout me out in there. Shout out to Chinye. Shout her back out as well. Shout her out back as well in the chat. I was like, oh, Chinye is here. You know, I'm sure some of our people be in the chat and all those other places because the audience intersect. Obviously the content intersects. Okay, but this is Man of Prestige. We're only 2 years in and we're just getting started. So we're in our very, very humble beginnings. Inshallah, we'll grow too, you know, and then we'll do some of the great things that some of these guys are doing, you know. But there's nobody that gets to the height where some of these guys are operating in that will not have to deal with pride. You know, I keep telling you, pride is not a situation where it's so obvious, where you just know that, you know, everybody call me prideful. No, it's none of that. Okay, it's the most dangerous pride are the one that are very subtle in nature, the one that can absolutely destroy you from the blind spot before you even realize that you've been operating from that place. So we have to kind of be very, very careful. Yeah, so we're talking about, this is one of his younger pictures. Tony Gaskins is the one right next to my face. And apparently he's the OG in terms of the internet or being a relationship coach with some presence online. But he's been doing it for a while, since 2010, something, or before, or even before that, right? So it's known as the OG. I didn't realize that, but I do know that I stumble into his video every now and then. I'm subscribed to his platform, and I like a lot of the, I like everything he has to say, until there are three main topics that he starts to bring up. And yes, you can look at me funny and sideways just because I'm about to say this. That's fine. This is a long form conversation. There's no one video or one live session that's going to give us the full grasp of what you need to learn when it comes to life in particular, right? But especially relationship, right? But feel free to look at me sideways. When we're talking about relationships, and we're going and you're saying all the things that make sense, but the only way you can justify is to bring in demons or sex, directly or indirectly, or subtly, but somehow it takes over the conversation, meaning you're bringing people's consciousness to it, or masturbation or porn. If that's the only backings you have, it waters it down. And I don't think a lot of people realize that it waters it down. And I can still pass, because we should all have freedom of faith, right? But once it starts becoming, we gotta be careful. Now the other side of it is this Ace Metaphor guy and a few other guys like the Mr. Let Go and them, single guys, divorced, but they are doing relationship coaching. And I am going to change my stance a little bit on what I used to say, but I'll talk about that when I get there, okay? But Ace Metaphor is the guy to the right. Shout out to the Hardly Initiated. They had Tony Gaskin on yesterday. That's the guy with his younger face next to me, and the conversation went down another direction, and it was a little bit messy. And then they tried to bring it back, but it was quite draining after a while for me personally, and I'm being honest, But yeah, let's talk about it. My name is Ola. I'm coming to you live from my Empire Pro Studios, and what we do here is we cover trendy topics, and we try to extract lessons from self-power, social seduction, attraction, and emotional intelligence standpoint. We try to stay away from anything that seems judgmental, and you're going to see me adjust a little bit on that as well today. Like I said, pride is a bastard. I keep telling you, repeat after me in your heart, in your spirit. Pride is a bastard, okay? Pride is one of those sneaky things. Pride is not obvious. And I'm saying pride is a good thing, but it's a double-edged sword. It can cut both ways, and it has to be managed. Just like expectations, right? It has to be managed. And when people miss this power element, they tend to move mad, okay? Right? When they miss the power element, is by default, they will miss the self-awareness element, okay? They might even be, they might not necessarily be socially awkward. They might be charismatic still, right? That may be a natural thing, right? And that can be a big enough element for them to seduce other people into their world, right? Or into liking them. And that means they can attract other people, right? But if they hit crisis, if they hit some kind of crisis, they might just lose their cool. They might lose their frame. And that's basically a lot of things that you see happen, and it can happen to any one of us. Okay, but one element that I think is missing in a lot of these conversations about relationships around the internet, around the media places, is power dynamics. How does it play, right? Because sometimes when you say power, people think it's power against your partner. No, not necessarily, right? Power is a default. It's going to happen anyway. So it's interesting that you think that way, right? It's going to come into the conversation. It's going to come into the it's going to play a role, either you like it or not. But if you're not aware of it, if you don't have power intelligence, you're probably going to use it against your partner. But if you're intelligent and you understand how power works, you will get your partner. You will do everything in your power to get your partner on your team, and then you understand that there are forces of evil. And when I say evil, I don't mean demons. Now I'm saying usually that's actually self. At least it uses you, right? So that's what I'm talking about, So we're gonna talk more about that today. I don't wanna, I wanna get into the video. But if you haven't downloaded our book, my wife and I, 20 years, married 16 years, We started writing books. We're gonna keep writing. We've decided we're gonna keep writing. But we have this one out right now called Get My Marriage Back. Let me make sure this is Get My Marriage Back. And this one is coming out in December. Number 1 red flag. You see, they look similar. I kind of like that, but we're probably gonna pay attention a little bit more to that. But you guys helped me pick that title. I mean, the cover. Actually, you guys helped in picking the cover. So shout out to you all. I appreciate you. So yeah, you can download those books absolutely for free. You can download the PDF version of them for free by going to loveandprestige.com, and also you'll be put on the waiting list for the one that we are releasing in the one that will be releasing in December, on December 30. So in December we'll be going through that campaign here. I'm going to try to bring a bunch of guests. So we're going to have some good time in December. All right, so awesome, great. So that's something that we're covering real quick. Shout out to all my sponsors. I appreciate you all. We're just gonna get into the conversation today. And yeah. Lovely. Hit that like button, share, subscribe. Turn on all your notifications so that you're notified when I do go live or when we drop videos. We'll start dropping videos crazily again starting next week. We have a lot of stuff we didn't get to cover because I'm away from the studio. As you can probably notice, I'm in a hotel room. All right, so let's talk about I want to bring you up to speed first of all so we can see who we're talking about. The people we're talking about is Tony Gaskins and Ace Metaphor. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to play I'm going to play Ace Metaphor's most popular video, and this video is called, I'm going to play just 2 minutes of it, see what he's talking about. Ace Metaphor talks the dangers of loving a person that doesn't know how to love you. Apparently this young man is single. Yesterday he tried to say he's in a committed relationship. That's good for him. But again, we're going to talk about that. Can single people advise on relationships? That's the major point of contention here. It was supposed to be, but it became something else entirely. But let's talk about it. Let me share this really quickly, and let's hear what he has to say. Let's see. All right, here we go. Ace Metaphor.
Yo, what's going on? It's your boy Ace Metaphor, and this is the Ace of Hearts podcast coming to you right now on YouTube, live on Instagram. Listen, I get hit up in my YouTube inbox. I didn't even know that was a thing about questions. Now, if you want to ask me a question, all you have to do is follow me on Instagram at Ace Metaphor, and you'll see the questions tab, and you just ask me a question in that tab when I post it on my story, and it will be answered on the Ace of Hearts podcast. All right. So before I get started, make sure you hit the little button, turn on your notifications so you know when I go live on Instagram and YouTube. You will understand. You'll know when it gets uploaded there. For everybody that's listening on Shopify, and we got to be able to spot that. Let me tell you, in being loving relationship, there's a difference between somebody loving you and being loving. And we got to be able to spot that. Let me tell you, when somebody is loving towards you, they ain't hurting you at the same time. It's almost impossible for love and pain to exist at the same time. And people confuse that. Somebody ain't loving you if they hurting you. They can't do it at the same time. I'm sorry. It can't be. Somebody can't be loving towards you if they cussing you out. Are they making everything about them? Are they being narcissistic? Are they being egocentric? Are they being controlling and jealous? That's not loving. Loving is being supportive, compassionate, considerate, respectful.
All right. That's. I'm not gonna get into that, but that's Ace Metaphor right there. That right there already, although it's very short, so I can't make much of it, but it's confusing. I do say there's a difference between loving a person and being in love, right? Now, being loving, like I've been being nice, I'm not sure what he's talking about. But anyway, I'm already confused. But let's go to Tony Gaskin. Okay, Tony Gaskin has a video here. His most popular video is "How to Make a Man Regret Losing You." All right, so that title is Derek Jackson-ish in nature, but I don't like hating on any one of them because they have a place they're coming from. So, but that title alone, it makes sense that women will eat that up, and is the most popular video on this platform. Let me play it and let's see what he's saying in it. Let's see. Hold on 1 second. Relax. Grab some cup of coffee, or not coffee. It's late night here, but you know what I mean. Let's see.
You know what? I get this question. Hey, Tony Gaskins here. You know what? I get this question a lot, and it's not really a question that I really want to entertain, but I realize it's unfair for me to just kind of disregard the hearts and the feelings that you feel when you've been in a tough relationship. It's been long, you've given everything, and then it goes sour. And so I get the question all the time, Tony, how to make a man regret losing me. And I understand it, and I think that really what's being said is how to help this man realize that he lost a real one, that he lost a good woman, versus how to make him regret losing me or it being vengeful. So,
or vindictive.
I want you to hear me. You may need to listen the whole way through. So it's not about vengeance, revenge, get back, whatever you want to call it. This is really something where when you've been in a relationship.
So I already like the answer. Okay. I already like the answer, right? You don't know where I'm going. Just relax, okay? Even if you listen to my intro very well, it almost seemed like I might be skewing more in the direction of Ace metaphor, right? But now I'm liking this answer, and I tend to like a lot of the talking points of Tony Gaskin again until he start bringing in the demons, sex, porn, masturbation. Okay, it's actually okay to bring in sex. After all, people are gonna have sex, right? But the stuff honestly, the only time we should be talking about them is to make sure that it's being assessed, and we're talking about addiction. Okay, the stuff that we're talking about, because even sex can be an addictive thing. You can be addicted to anything, right? What we should be talking about is addictive behavior, and not the particular things that honestly anybody, I don't trust anybody what they do in their living room or in their bedroom. Anybody could be up to anything. They could pick their nose this side, or they do like this before they can pick a nose. I don't know what people do in their privacy, and I don't care. Literally, I do not care, and I still don't think that it affects. Of course, addictive behavior can affect relationships. Of course, it can destroy relationships, but that's addiction to anything, right? So even addiction to the word sorry, apologies, or any ideology will destroy your relationships, because relationships are nuanced in nature, and you have to be able to flow like water, like Bruce Lee said, right? And if you're standing so much on principles, that's the number one P today, and you can't flow, and it has to be all rigid, right? It's dangerous. It's dangerous to teach anybody that directly or indirectly, because there's some people, they have that addictive behavior. What they're going to pick up is just that part that satisfies their own feelings, and like I said, it's dangerous, right? So it's very important as usual to listen to people's story and make sure we are addressing them from where they're coming from. Now, he's done a good justice of the title already for me, as far as I'm concerned. How to make a man regret losing you. I might even create a video around it. In the first minute, I'm going to tell you, like, why do you want the person to regret losing you? Why? We need to talk about why you need her or him to feel a regret, a sense of resentment for losing you. Because when a person is thinking like that, they clearly don't know anything about how relationship works in real life. I always tell you, there are 8 billion people in this world. There's a couple of billion adults. And for you to think that a relationship breaking up is solely, completely just about you, that's dangerous. It's dangerous. So he's already doing a good justice. And again, I'll tell you like this: 98% of what he says, if you listen to him long enough, I agree with him. Okay, I'm already confused. There's a lot of word salad and just loud voice with Ace metaphor, but I don't know yet, so I can't judge him yet. But we're talking about that today. Not to don't arrive. How far? People can love you and still hurt, and they are called toxic people because they don't know better. Yeah, like even the word love is confusing, right? The word love has so many meanings to it. So I guess that's where the confusion comes from. So people try to create all kind of word salad gymnastics around the word love, That's why even when I say love is enough, I always back it up by saying, well, it depends on what love means to you, because it means different things to different people. But I guess that's why I just wasn't patient. I wasn't patient with him. Because that's not today. Maybe I'll get to know him more later. Now, in terms of single people being able to advise people, let me ask you, if you're listening to me, do you think, what is your honest opinion? Do you think single people should be able to advise on relationship? I know that's not necessarily a yes or no question, but give me your take on it, right? I honestly want to know. Give me your take on it. Okay. Later on, I'll give you my take on it, and I might be adjusting a little bit on that. Okay. Because of what I saw yesterday, I might be adjusting it. We all have to be very, very careful. Okay. If the purpose is longer than any short-term opinionated nonsense by any one of us, then we all have to be careful. Absolutely. Okay. So now that we've gotten to know Tony a little bit, I'm going to check out on the live aspect. Okay, so this is that video that I played of Ace Metaphor is from 4 years ago. Okay, but his most popular live session is from 1 year ago, and it's called "I Can Still Love You and Leave You." All right, so I'm hearing a lot of stuff that's pissing Tony off. Okay, I'm already seeing the titles, but let me chill, right? Let me chill, just like I chilled for Tony and I waited for him to talk, right? Let me see what Ace Metaphor is going to say. Let me see. I'm going to find the most popular spots in this video. Let me see if I can find the most popular spot and see what he's saying. The most played spot is right here. Okay, that's one spot right here. Let me play this. Let's see.
You can leave before, because here's the thing: waiting until all the love is gone means you're gonna wait until your heart completely breaks into two. Why don't you leave when your heart starts to tear? Facebook, I need y'all to answer this question. Why are you always waiting until your heart is broken completely into two before you decide to leave? No, rip my heart a little bit, see how fast I dip. Rip my heart just a little bit, then see how fast I'll dip.
All right, so he's advising people to dip as soon as they feel like something is broken. I can see how that would piss Tony off. Okay. For me, I don't get pissed off about that. I would like to hear more. I would like to hear some nuances, some real life examples of what it means, because guess what? In business, in life, in anything that's worthwhile in life, right? We're not just gonna dip as soon as whatever he was describing, right? Right. So let's keep going. Let me move to another spot here.
This person loves me though, and it is that "I love you" word that will hold you hostage. Who told you that once you promise somebody, no. I need y'all to, everybody come in here. Everybody come here. Hey, if you on Facebook, share this video right now. If you are on Facebook, share this video.
Oh, he's about that game. He knows the business. Jesus Christ. I gotta step my game up, right? If you're here right now, if you ready, turn up on that like button right now. If you're on Facebook, yeah, nah, I'm gonna chill. Let's keep going. Again, I can't judge this man yet because I haven't listened long enough. I have listened to Tony Gaskins long enough. I just need him to kind of remove the demons so that people can actually be in control of their destiny. When you bring in the demons, yeah, it kind of he waters down the message. I think he has more than enough, and he doesn't need to bring in the demons, right? Unless we've made sure that you're dealing with a particular person that they have some kind of demon, they need deliverance. People have demons, right? That's a fact of life. People have demons, but everybody's demons is different. So when you bring in the demon, everybody is interpreting demons in different way, but they hung out. They will completely leave all the relationship lessons alone, and they will target the whole demon talk, and they will tag on to you, and they will hope that somehow some miracle will happen and their life will change. And their life will not change because their shadow follows them everywhere, including that demon. It's difficult. Because even me, I haven't figured it out yet in terms of how to teach this properly. I'm still trying to figure it out along the way. But I just know that people are obsessed with anything demonic or anything that looks like it's out of their control. Anything else they can blame, people are obsessed with it. So when you bring it into the conversation, their mind tags on to that and it's a wrap. They can't see beyond that. I don't know if I said that properly, but let's keep going.
The people we care about is the last things that get our attention, because we think that they're supposed to always give us grace. Like we can pour into our wives or our husbands when we feel like it. You know, whatever we feel like it. I mean, it ain't no rush. You know, where they gonna go? That's how we reason, and this is why we lose people. You know what I mean? Shit, I ain't got my lip gloss. Y'all see me licking the lips.
All right. Let me go here.
In about 5 minutes. Deal? Cool. Let's get to these questions real quick. Facebook, if y'all got a question, let's see. Instagram, I do y'all all the time, so I'm gonna get Facebook real quick. Facebook, did y'all drop a question?
All right, so I'm still confused, but that's not to judge him. I don't know him enough, okay? I just don't know him enough. I just stumbled into this man yesterday, okay? I've seen maybe 1 or 2 clips. I never watch more than 1 second because all that rah-rah doesn't, that's not really my style. But I'll pay more attention because as soon as I saw it yesterday, I subscribed. I'm like, oh, I got to pay attention to what he's saying because clearly a bunch of people are following him, right? So, which is why this conversation is this big. But in terms of Tony Gaskins, his biggest live session is actually called A Woman's Influence with Sherry Gaskins, and that's the wife. And it makes people are hungry for that kind of content. Okay, hold on 1 second. There you go. Once you go viral, people are hungry for couple content, right? Because a bunch of blind people leading the blind is clearly not the way to go. However, I want to be careful with that. I'm starting to feel funny saying that. And I'll explain that to you a little bit. I had a conversation with my wife earlier on about that. I'm starting to feel funny saying that people that are single cannot have a word. You know, hey Key Pearls, good to see you. I meant to say hello earlier. Mabino, I'm sorry. She said I'm getting Jerry Jackson vibes from who? Ace or Tony Gaskins? Which one are you getting it from? Right? She also said, I think anyone can give good advice, single or married. The question is, are they critical thinkers? That's a good point. And what's their trauma source of motivation for their stand? That's a good point, right? She said Oga Ace is selling market. All right. Quincy, shout out to Quincy. Quincy said, brother, Tony has been around for about 20 years. 20 years would be what? That's like 2003. So before he got married, he had been around, right? Mm-hmm. That's good to know. Good to know. A lot of people are acknowledging that he's the OG in this space. I don't think it's more. I don't think I've known his brand more than 5-6 months, but I followed him enough to know that his concepts are coming from a very authentic place, right? But the religious thing, yeah, and that's the part that he was also pissed off about yesterday, because shout out to Natu too was like, principles, he's standing on his ground. I get it. Okay, that's why I said in the group, if you're not part of the group yet, please feel free to follow the group chat in the back end. We do continue conversations beyond the show. You can follow that at lolaandola.com. By the way, we have a huge blog at lolaandola.com/blog. We're always putting content up there, so make sure you check that out. But to get into WhatsApp and join the conversation in the back end is lolaandola.com/WhatsApp. All right, so he was pissed off. Anything, like, and I'm like, okay, that's a conversation about faith. I generally, for me personally, as part of my methods, when somebody brings in faith, I just respect it. I don't have much to say about that, right? If the conversation continues, I might ask you a question to get us back to the conversation, but not like Tony is not always going to have that luxury of people that can ask questions to not make it about his faith or attacking his faith, but to make it about the actual point, right? I always say something. In my personal opinion, the Bible is complete. There's a lot of people that disagree with that, right? But then the Bible and the scriptures in general, or people quoting scriptures, it's a function. It's a function, like Key was saying here. It's a function of people's trauma. Where are they interpreting this stuff from? What is their existing biases and all this kind of stuff, right? So some people will hear a Bible verse and they will hang on to that Bible verse, and I even do it, okay? And they will use their own interpretation and they will enjoy it. It's just another high. It's just another high. And we have to be able to discern between the two. And I don't think he gets that yet, Quincy said, I meet the brother in person, godly man, no nonsense. I could tell. So, and by the way, that I know a lot of brothers like him personally. Okay, as a matter of fact, I'm going to be on a program. I'll see if it's, it's a private program. I'm going to be on a program, my wife and I, on Friday evening, that we are speakers. And this, I'm a church boy myself. As a matter of fact, I might start some content soon, playing some piano and stuff. But I'm a church boy myself, so I understand. I have a lot of friends that are like Tony, right? And sometimes there's a disconnect in landing their point, and they don't understand why. And it's the person you're talking to agrees with you on the scriptures. You agree, obviously, because you're quoting the same scriptures, right? But because they agree, you cut the conversation short. And the reality is that the agreement is very surface level. It's just the scriptures that you agreed on. They've never taken the time to understand application level, intricacies of what that looks like in real life. So that's some of the things that we're going to talk about too. All right, this conversation is conversing. Shumake Way also has interesting content and also leans hard on religion. Oh, Shumake. Does they keep mentioning this guy, R.C. Blake. I haven't listened to him yet. People have said his name a few times here. I have not watched a leak yet. But is he also religious? Because Tony tends to he kept saying R.C. Blake. He didn't watch the content, but he loved it, right? All right, so anyway, so let's see what he's saying in his most popular live session here. Let's listen to about 1-2 minutes, and then we'll get into the content that we're here for today. Okay, let's get it.
Blessed tribe. Tony Gaskins here. Hey, now I got the queen. Let me get this right off her face.
His wife is beautiful.
Can y'all hear me? Where everybody at? Where y'all coming in from? Got the queen here with me now. Listen. I'm nervous.
He's blushing and nervous. Let me see if I can find the highs.
First time joining me.
Let's see. Let's get this right here.
What did you do to grow and improve?
Your little business could become a big business.
Speaking of motivational speakers, hold on a second. There you go.
Self-love. What else did you do to grow and improve your self-love?
So I think it's a lot of your self-talk, what you listen to, what you speak to yourself. also like when in our marriage, like when we had difficulties or issues or things like that, when we talked, I would take whatever we talked about and like find the good in it and make the growth in those areas. But I think it's just always seeking and wanting to be better. So if you know you have
I like that answer. Seeking and wanting to be better. Let's get to this one here.
If they do a donation, it goes to the top, but these is just in the chat. So it just keep
would you
going.
do mommy advice? You're awesome on how you raise your boys. I'm not worried about men. I really want to be the best mom I can be and gain knowledge from those who are pure. I'm 22 year boy. I know I need to do some.
Let me answer this. I'm gonna tell y'all right now. Y'all give me a second. Let me tell y'all something about this woman here. This the best mama in the world.
Thank you.
You know, like, and I ain't saying it because she's sitting right here. So hold your thanks now, baby. Cause listen, this the best mama in the world. I'm gonna be honest.
All right, so that enough. If you do enough of that, you'll be together for a long time, and she will multiply. You're not just doing it; she will multiply that and reciprocate. She will multiply that and give it right back to you. But anyway, so shout out to Tony. Shout out to Tony. I like Tony. All in all, there was a video in particular that started making me look at him like, this guy, you're talking to the public. Jesus Christ. Some few weeks ago, during the whole Jada Pinkett brouhaha, the uproar with her launching a book, and Tony came on live and he was not having it. Oh my God. He called Will and Jada all types of demons, and I'm trying to see if I can find it. This was a live session? I think it was a live session. Let me see. Latest 4 weeks ago. Bless unapologetic truth. Okay, so he's a truth teller. You know who I call truth teller, right? They can't hear nothing else. It's just what they think is truth, right? Now I say that jokingly, okay. And I also say I'm just saying the truth sometimes. We all say that. It doesn't mean it's the truth, right? So it's just how we feel, just our opinions. It's just a saying. It's just the way we formulate our words, right? But once people start going in and say unapologetic truth and stuff like that, it's very tricky. It's very tricky because oftentimes it means they are terrible listeners. Okay? It means they are terrible listeners oftentimes. I don't think that's the case for Tony. He knows way too much from what I've listened to thus far for that to be him. But in general, when people tend to say I'm just saying the truth. They're usually terrible listeners. Okay? Because a lot of the way we move, our belief systems, they're driven by emotions. Okay? So you shut that, not intentionally, obviously, because now we have to add grace to that person. Now I have to have enough grace in me to give a person who is a truth teller. And if I don't have enough grace in me, we're not going to get anywhere, right? And most people, honestly, don't have enough grace in them, okay, to give you or to dash you for free. I think he took that video down. I can't find it. But he went in on Will and Jada, called them all kind of demons and all this kind of stuff. All that kind of stuff. When you're talking to the public, again, if the goal, what I said in the group last night was, or maybe today, earlier actually, what I said is that if the goal is to make heaven, mission accomplished. All right? Mission accomplished. You're probably going to make heaven, right? But if your goal is to actually help somebody, to actually serve somebody, for somebody to actually hear you out, not just hear you in that moment, because a lot of people can hear the scriptures in a moment, but when it comes down to application, everything gets discombobulated. Everything will get tested. Like if there's no root, if it's not rooted well inside, which is the beauty of Bible studies. If it's a good Bible study, you get deeper than just somebody preaching motivation to you in a Sunday sermon. That's the fundamental difference right there, right? So I don't know, so that's one of the things I sent the group. I said, well, if the goal is just he needs to make heaven, he will make heaven for sure, inshallah. Right? But if the goal is that to actually sow a seed of greatness, particularly with respect to relationship and the complexities of it in the 21st century, I'm not sure if that conversation is going to get anywhere. Okay, now it's a little bit nuanced too, because I do believe our first pillar in our book is God. right? We have GPS, God, purpose, and self. And I do believe that without a connection to a higher self, a higher version of yourself, a higher belief system, God, right? In our case, if you don't have that and in agreement with your partner, it's almost impossible to have unconditional love, because you will get caught up in your feelings too, right? Like everybody will get caught up in their feelings. But if you have that, you can always yield to that. And I believe that's the first core pillar in general. But now let's talk about everything else. We have purpose. That means individual purpose, but even joint purpose, right? And then self everything, self-awareness, self-love, self-esteem, self-respect. Like if you don't have those things, you're going to drain everything out of that relationship. But all of that is cute until we bring it down to application, case by case, events by event, right? And when you go to church on Sunday and the pastor is preaching and you're like, yes, there's another person right next to you sitting. It's like, why is he telling my story from the stage? Why is he telling my business? Because they went for a counseling some few days ago and now they're caught up in their feelings. They feel some type of way that the pastor is preaching about them. People are hearing two different things, not two, actually as many monitoring spirits are listening. They're hearing different things, right? So these are some of the dangers of generalizations in general, So Quincy said, Tony is about serving God and empowering families. He wants to see us men do better. Yeah, that's very clear. And shout out to the hardly initiated gentlemen, Ryan and Tashawn, something like that. Taishan. Yeah. And they made that clear yesterday. It's obvious that he's very passionate. But passion, like everything else, is a double-edged sword. All right? But that wasn't the P word I was coming up with. That's not the P word, but that's another P, right? We said purpose earlier too, right? So shout out to Tony, but let's get into the actual content that we want to react to. I'm listening to it for the first time. Here's what happened yesterday. I was listening to the show. I was listening with shout out to Chinye. I was in the chat with Chinye, and the next thing my wife called in, and I got distracted off of the show because I was using my phone. And when she called in, by the time I came back, all I was seeing is Tony reacting. He was triggered quite a bit, right? So I was chatting back and forth in our group chat on WhatsApp, and I was like, you know what? I'm not gonna rewind. I was 16 minutes behind, right? I was like, I'm just gonna do a live session, a reaction session, and then we'll talk about it from there, because then it'll be content for us here. But to be fair, I'm going to listen to it now. But to be fair, when I started to listen from that point on, the more I listened, it just sounded so much like Tony was pained. It sounded so much like jealousy. It sounded so much like, to me, as a person, the sentiment in the chat was opposite of that. A lot of people were rocking with Tony. And like I said, I'm rocking with him, right? But what I was hearing sounded similar to what I was hearing when it was dragging Will and Jada some few weeks ago. And funny enough, after that session, I made a point here on this show. I did a show here. I think we were talking about something else. I think it was Jinamai and Young Jeezy. And I said, I like Tony, but there was this one session that he needs to slow down on, there's certain things that you address when people are actually dealing with that. If people are diagnosed with that, you address it, right? If we keep talking about narcissism, there are people that it just sound like music to their ears. They're not learning anything. They just hear narcissistic behavior. They're not learning anything. That's all they needed to hear. They just need to hear that another man is saying somebody's a narcissist, and they're happy. And they go back into their life, even if they're already broken up with their husband, and they will deal with the same funk because they never get to the bottom of the issue, right? And that's the issue with anything that is being turned to religion. So words like narcissism, boundaries, intentional, that's 3 of them, right? All those kind of words, right? They are now religious words at this point, right? That when people hear them, they're like, oh, he's talking about my kind of stuff. They are literally content creators leveraging that. All they have to do is put narcissists in their titles and you will all eat it up. Right? And all they need is your engagement, click-through rates, and watch time, and then you go back to your life, you really never learned anything. That's my biggest pet peeves. I have to be careful about them. It's my biggest pet peeves. The psychological terms are destroying more than they are building anybody. I understand that we have an obsessive need to label things. I get it. Okay. I get it. But anything that is extreme, I'm going to play this short video. Shout out to ID Kabasa from the Honest Bunch podcast earlier on today. But I thought this was a good point to make, and I posted it into the chat as well earlier on. Let's see if I can find it. Yep, here we go. Let me play this short video for you.
Because behind every extremism is ignorance, condensed ignorance, actually.
Let's hold that right there. Let that simmer. I don't know if you heard what he said. Let it sink in. Let it sink in. By the way, this is a show you must go and watch on Honest Bunch podcast. They just released it today. You need to go and watch that show. Okay. Let's listen to it again.
Okay. Because behind every extremism
is
ignorance.
Is ignorance.
Condensed ignorance.
Condensed ignorance.
If you believe in one thing, and you so much believe in that thing, especially from the place of religion or moral, sincerely, you will be shocked that you are going to be ignorant of so many other things. True. The map of the world is big. You cannot see things only from where you are standing.
You cannot see things only from. It's dangerous. It's dangerous. You cannot just see things just from your standpoint. You got to be careful with that. You got to ask questions. He also kept on talking about ask why.
Listen, like, when you said inspiration, okay, because
condensed ignorance, Quincy says Tony always make it clear. He does. And I'm not just yielding to you. I want you to be clear about that. If anybody thinks I'm pandering, okay, if you're still here, all right, let's get to it. Okay, if I'm not just yielding to you. I've listened long enough. This is the same thing I'm asking everybody. Make sure you're listening long enough. It doesn't mean you have to be perfect all the time. Sometimes you have to be angry, like, quote unquote, Jesus was angry with all those people in the temple. People always quote that, right? People always quote that like it's like something that we should now emulate and start running with it. No, that's the whole point of that conversation. That's an exception, right? It becomes an exception, right? So, but yeah, I've listened long enough to know that he does make things clear, but I think he was quite nervous and he was out of his comfort zone yesterday. And we're going to watch that in a second. He didn't ask to be on that podcast. The fans requested him. Yeah, I hear you. All right, let's keep going. I'm going to be very, very on the fence. Warning. All right. So, because again, I'm just, my purpose is the lessons. Okay, my purpose is to let you know that this could be any one of us, right? You could be a single person, single today, and you try to do everything best in your power, but you're in divorce. That could be you. You could be married, right? And people look up to you and you lost your cool sometimes. It happens. If it doesn't happen, you're not a human being. That's just a fact, And because of that, we all need to get used to the idea of walking with enough grace. Enough for you, but also enough for other people. And that's not something you're doing for them. You're not pandering. You're not being on the fence. You're doing that so that you can make sure you're not acting foolish like everybody else out in this internet streets. Active listening is power. Okay, it's only possible from a place of strength, especially if you're a public figure and people are already calling you. Like I saw somebody said they were talking about Tony today and said, well, only the broads listen to him. It's hard to hear that all the time and maintain your cool 100% of the time. Sometimes you need to curse those people out, especially if they're men like you. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Curse the shit out of them, right? Right. So sometimes you have to do that, and I can respect that. And I think he tried to maintain that. He tried to like yesterday, he lost his bass. Was trying when he said, take that bass out of your tone. He didn't want to be called a simp, right? So I understand it, but let's point it out nonetheless. So that I wanted to show you that video really quickly, but let's get into today's content, which is why we're here today precisely. Shout out to Hardly Initiated. And with that being said, let me make sure I give them their due credits. Okay, we are reacting within the fair use guidelines. Hardly Initiated. Let me get to it. Let me play.
Actually respond on his perspective, because the brother is literally in here backstage right now.
Wow.
As I'm taking video calls. Now, if that's okay, do you mind me bringing up Ace to let him say his point?
Oh my.
Ace. So I'm actually about to bring Ace up here to the forefront. And
What's going on?
Ace,
Yo,
what
Ace,
is
what is
popping with you,
good?
Ace? We got
And
Ace and TV live in effect. What's up, Ace?
And when you got to go to the basement and turn on the studio lights and say, "What's up, man? What's going on?"
Wow.
Hey,
Tony,
yo,
nice to
everybody
meet
knows
you
this
officially.
Everybody knows this setup right here, Ace.
This
Yes,
is
sir.
incredible.
Once everything's perfectly organized, I'll start working on my thesis.
Paying some bills.
How y'all been, brothers?
Good, man.
We
Good.
blessed.
Yeah, glad you joined us, man. Look, glad you got the production set up too.
And
Got that lighting going.
Yeah, and see, the thing about it is, Ace, I'm actually it's interesting that you came up here. Shout out for you being on the Harley Initiated video right now. Obviously, Tony has made the way he feels and his stance clear about making sure that people are able to get the best guidance possible from the coaches and the experts in the space.
All right, so let me pause right there. If you need to watch it without me interrupting and making my commentary, you can go to their platform and watch it from there. But I'm sure many of you that are probably watching this, you've seen the actual video. To be clear, he didn't just make his point known and clear. He did, okay? But let's talk about what he feels like on the end when people feel like you're attacking their platform, even if it's not your intentions. See? There's multiple variables. There's multiple things going on at the same time, right? There's your intentions. There's you expressing your truth, right? There's the other person hearing what you have to say. There's them feeling like it's an attack against their livelihood, their platform, right? And then everything in between, which is about 2,000 plus other things, right? So I just wanted to, there's intentions, there's attack, right? But let's see. I'm watching this with you for the first time. So let's see where it goes, right? Because something that will make him go to the basement and turn on the lights and say, whoa, 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 whoa. Some people say, well, if you talk about me, I'm stepping up. I'm pulling up, right? Some people do that because they think they're tough. I don't think that's actually, I don't think that's always necessarily necessary. I don't think so, okay? But if something hits a nerve and you feel like you need to pull up, please pull up, okay? But maybe drink some water before you pull up so that you can maintain your cool while you're having a conversation. Because again, if you feel attacked, there's a good chance you will respond a certain type of way. If you feel attacked, you feel like somebody comes to your village and attack and try to steal your children and your wife, you're going for the head. It just makes sense. This is why I keep saying people need to understand power dynamics when we're having this conversation, right? So everybody should manage their expectation. Right? You attacked my platform. Yeah, I was just trying to point out what I have the conversation. You can let me know. You can put in a little tip inside of the, what do you call that thing? The opinion box. There's another name for it where you put suggestion box. You can put some suggestion box. You can send me a DM. You're huge. You're Tony Gaskins. Where what's his name again? Hayes Metaphor. You can DM me. We can talk about it. It's a platform. You feel like we need to. So, for example, for me right now, we have a very little platform here. Okay, we have young, growing platform here. So, like nobody should expect that I need to pull up and come and have conversation with it. They won't answer me anyway because I don't have the clout they are looking for. Right? And that doesn't mean I don't message. They just never answer. Okay, and I understand it because if they have a couple of 100,000 people following them, and I'm messaging and say, hey, come on my platform and let's have a conversation. It's like, why? Right? And it could be for many, many reasons. Watch me apply grace. There might be other people, other small podcasters like that. You're reaching out to them. Maybe Mike got lost in the source of things in the shuffle, right? Imagine me assuming is the worst case scenario. They just don't like me. They're just haters, right? Who am I hurting? Myself, ultimately, right? Instead of me to focus on what I'm doing, right? So the point I'm making there is this, right? This man came onto this platform. He has a little smirk on his face. That smile is not exactly real. He's felt attacked. Well, not him personally, but he's gonna let's just be a man. Let's just be a man about it, right? Let's see how it worked out.
And your platform actually was one that was mentioned. So, what's your take and what's your perspective on what was stated?
So, and first, did you hear what was stated?
Yeah, I rewatched it. You know, everybody, internet is funny. They tag you real fast.
They tag you.
So
here's
the thing. I respectfully disagree with my brother there. And the reason why I disagree is because there are all sorts of people from all sorts of walks of life. While I understand your perspective as a married man, brother, and this is also tagged along to the Instagram post that you guys made a couple weeks ago. While I do understand your perspective, there are so many people right now struggling with dating, getting in and out of situationships, relationships, getting their heart broken. And even then I can say to you, brother, that maybe you're out of touch there.
All right. I'm triggered right there already. I'm triggered. I've been married for 16 years. I've known my wife for 20 years. If you read my book, I'm not exactly out of touch. But I'm still triggered. Well, all right. So I'm triggered because it hit a nerve. Okay. And I keep telling all my married people who are trying to help, I said, Baba, you're out of touch if you're not engaged in this conversation. At this point, I don't think I'm out of touch because I've heard the same story over and over again, the same complaints. They tend to repeat themselves, after a while. And the solutions are the solutions, but they all have coconut heads. They don't want to listen, right? They don't listen until they realize that, logic and common sense is inside of poto when it comes to these issues. But we're here, okay? So let's see how Tony responds. I think I might have seen a response about this to him before somewhere else. I think they actually asked him earlier on in the show, something like that. So you're out of touch. A lot of people are struggling with dating, relationship, and all this kind of stuff. And somehow you think you can remove experience from that equation and just use theory to educate them. Okay, I don't know what he's saying yet. Let's keep going.
You know what I'm saying? So there are people that I bring on my panel that have walked and touched all different parts of life. This woman may be able to speak to this particular experience. This man may be able to speak to that particular experience. And that might reach somebody in that audience a little bit differently than you.
Yeah, but why is it not saying this person might meet somebody in the dating and this person in the relationship phase, this person in the what's the other phase between relationship and marriage? Complicated phase. This person in the we're talking phase. This person in the marriage phase. Why is it he said it in such a way that he's trying to hide something? Here's my quick question right now. Is there any married person on their panels on their show? Right? Because once someone can tell me that there's some kind of married person on those platforms, whatever platform they're talking about, I think they call it Tonight's Conversations, right? If there's married people along with other people in all those different phases, my respect for them will go like 10,000 times more. But if he's saying this like this just to hide the fact that, forget all those out of touch married people. Let's keep
There are people that I bring on my panel that have walked and touched all different parts of life. This woman may be able to speak to this particular experience. This man may be able to speak to that particular experience. And that might reach somebody in that audience a little bit differently than you can. It doesn't mean that it's better, worse, or indifferent. It just means there are different perspectives. To think that all human beings are monolithic, that our walks of life all take the same course and the same path, and that there's one set of advice to give to all different people.
All right. I don't think Tony has said that. I don't think he would ever say that. But let's go.
To me, seems out of touch, and it disqualifies a lot of people's personal experiences. One of the things I want to correct real quick that I heard that was spoken, now that we know the name is on there, like, we do have married people on our panel.
Oh, okay. That's it. So what's the beef? That's it, right? Key Pearl says, good point, Ola. What is the why of the podcaster that have proliferated the internet? Abi, I always ask why now. Yep. Let's see. Right? What's the beef? They have married people up there. Can we prove this? Who are these married people? Are they just as popular as STEPHAN Speaks? Because that one collect yesterday. Are they just as popular as Ace Metaphor? Right? Who are these people? All right. So now, in the same spirit that Tony Gaskins kind of attacked these people's brands, he attacked Tim Ross or some other kind of cousin pastor. There's a pastor that causes the person that had like some kind of what's the word, controversies around cursing over the last few weeks has been Tim Ross. Who I really respect a lot of his talking points when it comes to marriage, and he's been married for a while too, like seasoned, like more than 7-10 years, right? So I didn't quite understand why. Like, it sounds like the same thing, just different topics. Same thing, but different dimensions, but same. You know what I mean? Like, there was some kind of attack against somebody who decided, like, I'm a pastor, but I'm gonna cuss, right? Again, quite sanctimonious in nature, okay, in a lot of his delivery, okay. But I've listened to him long enough. Again, the reason why I pointed this out, he made something yesterday, and Chinye and Nato made mention that I do say that, which is, people can say all the correct things 80% of the time, but they say one little 20% of thing, and that can be dangerous. That's applicable to all of us, including myself. That's why I keep telling you, don't turn anything. That's why I tell you, read my books 10 to 15 times. Don't turn anything I tell you into a religion, because you too will collect. You will just say, oh, I advise you. I said, no, I did not advise you. Okay? I would deny it. Because there's nuances, right? Because you cannot put human beings in a box, just like you cannot put God in a box. So if a pastor showed out and said, you know, I'm going to speak certain slangs, okay, and that's how I'm going to relay my message, there's only one reason why you attack that kind of stuff. There's not only one reason, but there's one possible reason, and that's the second P, and that's pride. We have to be careful with pride. Pride doesn't mean you outrightly stand up and you're ready to be disrespectful and arrogant to people. Oftentimes it comes from a very, very bland, subtle spot where you're just not paying attention. Sometimes you confuse it with the other P, which is I'm standing on principles. Sure, there's nothing wrong with standing on your principles, but to make that to mean that you're not going to listen to other people's perspectives, another P, oh yeah, no. We have to watch out for that kind of stuff. Why? Because people are hearing your spirits more than they're hearing your words. These words are more entertaining than anything else. But they can read through our BS. Right? We can smell BS from afar. We are incredible in terms of we are spiritual beings. Right? And we can smell it. We might not be able to put our fingers on it, but we can smell it. Someone can smell it. Okay, if someone can't smell it, maybe they can relate somehow, some way. Maybe you're taking care of them in some other type of way, but someone can smell it, you know. So, but the more important thing for me is the results. Can we help people get better results when it comes to dating, relationships, and marriage? Right? And I disagree with this brother. The principles are the same. I disagree with Ace on this. The principles are the same across the board. The stories are different. So application from persons to person, case by case, even if the same person will be different, the principles are the same. And those principles, I will stand on that right now today, that they are all godly principles. Okay. Now, I have heard people misquote scriptures to satisfy BS that is being used to judge people. And when you're speaking to a person that's they're just looking for someone to help them judge their partner, it makes sense that they will hang on to those words and weaponize it against themselves. And we have to be careful with that. So again, nuances. I told you I'll be on the fence a little bit, right? There are principles, and those principles tend to be the same across the board. Go and ask anybody that's been married long enough. It's the same principles. Usually there's some form of kindness or patience in it, right? But I get it. It's too broad. So we need to break that down into everyone's experiences. Maybe that's why we're having a conversation. That's why I want to keep encouraging the conversations, especially if they have married people in those panels. And I want to encourage Gaskin to be open to reaching out to people. Sometimes Old Glory has to wake itself up and come out there and say, hey, I'm here. If you want to do something, let's talk. Let's talk some business. You have 500,000 subscribers on YouTube. No one is going to turn deaf ears to that. If anything, more likely they'll be honored. But there's more to this story, and you will see them come out more and more. Human beings, no one is perfect. Nobody only pass. I promise you. There's more that will come out. And that's why we have to be careful, because everybody has skeletons in their cupboard. But the more grace you give, the more people will give back to you. The same thing that the scripture said about not judging, right? Because the same measure you'll be judged by, right? And people will find something. And when they drag you with it, even if it's not authentic, you will feel it. And it will take you off your base. It will mess with everything. It will mess with your equilibrium. Let's continue.
Confusing part about the whole thing. There are married people and there are actual relationship coaches and professionals that we bring. We have had therapists, we have had life coaches, we have had mentors, we've had people that are actively in the community be regular parts of our discussions. And so I just felt like it was a little bit of misinformation, and it comes from not actually, observing what we got going on.
But I observe what you have going on. But let me ask you this: what is the purpose of dating?
Good question.
It depends on who you asking. My purpose, if you ask me specifically,
in the scope of society, in the scope of family, what is the purpose of dating?
What's the purpose of dating? Come on, man.
For some people, for a large percentage of the people, the scope of dating, if you're being intentional, is to find a husband or wife.
Correct. So,
but let me ask you.
There's no but, P.T. Bao. There's no but. There's no but behind that. But let me hear what he's going to say. What's the but? Right? The but is probably going to be some kind of perversion of the idea of dating. Okay, people want to couple together and create families. They want to couple together to have what do you call it? Companionship, right? All of that, you can bring it down to marriage. The only thing that separates marriage from that is, I guess it's official with the state, signing with the state. It's a ceremony of some sort. It's the same issue at the core. So why would anyone try to separate dating from marriage, if not because there are agendas that they're trying to agenda? You tell on yourself, bro. Ace is about to tell on himself. Let's keep going.
To this question, a follow-up question. Is that the reason why everyone dates?
Is that the reason
why everybody dates? Is that the reason?
But what I'm saying is we shouldn't promote what the devil doing. We shouldn't promote what is this.
All right, so I would do the same thing. If we're talking about dating, marriage, relationships, and nobody is seeing spirits in their sleep or hearing voices in their head, and you bring devil into it, maybe I won't raise my hand on my head like this. But Baba, I will get stuck right there, and you better break it down to me what you mean by the devil. Because I tell you what a lot of people do. They promote the idea of the devil to a lot of people, and that keeps them stuck potentially for the rest of their lives. Because once the devil is operating, who are you? Wherever the devil is, all you are left with is to pray. Not pray and work. Pray. Just pray and watch. Right? So I get it. I get why he raised his hands on his head. Like, wait, devil, Bitibao. Let me see if I'm correct. I could be wrong. I'm watching it for the first time.
Advantageous. So if someone is dating for sex, if someone is dating for fun, us as people with a platform should be promoting what is going to benefit society. not what is going to confuse society. So Albert Einstein said you cannot solve a problem from the same level it was created. So having people who are dating, talking to people who are dating, someone who's dating can't help someone who's dating, because the goal of dating is marriage. So a married person can tell someone who is dating, this is what you need to look out for while you're dating. This is.
He wants to interject so badly, just like I just interjected him right now. You see his hands up like this? He's ready to interject. Like, Baba, I just told you that we have married people on that panel. Why are we talking about dating people, advising dating people? The only reason why people do that because their bias is their bias. They're stuck right there. They can't move past it. But he probably wasn't listening. I told you, people that are unapologetically truth tellers, they struggle with active listening. Okay? And when I say that, I'm not saying particular persons. Anytime you're in that mode that I'm just speaking truth, because we all do that, right? Anytime you're just in that mode, you're full of just your own bias and you can't think past it. That and active listening cannot live in the same space. It's an oxymoron, okay? Keeper says Halloween just passed. Now devil on the moon and birthday be that. You know, so if we're having discussions on faith, some people say no, it's the same. I said, oh, that's a different platform. Let them do their thing, worldly relationship dating platform. Let them do their thing, especially if they're bringing married people to come and do it, right? And you do your thing. Find other bishops. Okay, I think R.C. Blake is a bishop. I think he mentioned it yesterday. Find religious people and do your thing with them. Find Pastor Kingsley. You know, Pastor Kingsley, he doesn't quote scriptures as much, but he will throw in scriptures here and there. You know, he's a pastor. He will finish it with a prayer. And he will say, in Jesus' name. It's clear that that's faith-based relationship advice. And even at that, some other pastors are cursing him out because he doesn't quote enough scriptures. Why? Because they're truth tellers. They can't hear anything else. That's pride. We gotta be careful with that. The devil is not going to show up to you in dark clothes. It's going to show up to you as yourself. The way you think, your mindset. We gotta be careful with this kind of stuff. Let me keep playing because this is getting more fun.
This is what you need to check off. This is what you need.
When the last time you've been actively dating multiple people?
That's the wrong. So he's here to attack as well. He's just here to respond to the attacks. The only point he's here to make is that you've been out of touch. I don't think Tony Gaskins is out of touch. I don't think he's out of touch. I think he should stay in the lane of faith-based relationship advice. Absolutely. Those people, because he will check them. If he says the devil and that person said, well, it must be my husband as the devil, he's going to check them. I know enough that he will check them at that point, because that's not what he's trying to say. Like if he hears BS in your submission, he will check it, right? But in this situation right now, they're attacking each other. This one is here to attack, like you've been out of touch, so you can't advise anybody on nothing. So for me, if I were responding to Tony Gaskin at this point in time, I'd be like, Tony, when you say the devil exactly, what do you mean? Okay, Tony, why don't we sit there and come up with some kind of curriculum or something? You know, if you feel that way, we can have a conversation and we can do we respect you. We respect what you stand for. Because the devil thing, maybe that's just me. Maybe that's not him. Because I don't know yet if that's a trigger for him. But I know enough about church folks that when they bring the devil in, they're just trying to silence you. That's all it is. Right? It's an argument, of course, if it's an argument. Because this is an active argument right here. Right? And they're speaking two different languages. So the fact that they both don't understand that when you're speaking two different languages, it's like, what's the point? This is just entertainment. And funny enough, Chinye can testify to this. I said earlier on in the show in the chat, I don't know if she saw it though. I don't know if she can testify to it. I said, well, once you bring it, you start mentioning names, because they were asking him, like, would you mention names? I said, when you mention names, it's going to become entertainment. You have about 1,800 people watching. What do you need the extra entertainment for? But you never know. This is a numbers game and this is business. And I can't hate on that. And a lot of times, a lot of those moments, it sounded like Tony was hating on the business aspect of this game. They need to be able to afford to get this message out to more people. So the business has to be a part of it, right? And how people decide to go about it is, as long as it's ethical, it's fine. You want to every second stop and ask for super chats, then so be it. It is what it is. As long as the message, the value is there, the value will be is there, some kind of value, even if it's entertainment value. And guess what happens? As soon as he mentions names, he pulled up. It became entertainment. It became entertainment. Right? But of course, here, my job is to point out some of the intricacies and how it applies to your relationships. Is this truth principle thing you need to pay attention to when it starts to cross the line into pride? Right? It's not something I expect you to admit to. It's something you should just be aware of. Right? Because the whole point is that you might not be able to admit to it. But it usually means you have your own ideas and you're not willing to hear anything else. Just hear it. It does, like there's a fear that if you hear it, it will change everything, or the whole world is coming to destruction. It's going to be Sodom and Gomorrah. Yeah, but Sodom and Gomorrah or not, everything comes to an end. Everything. There's no guarantee in life. Everything that has a beginning has an end. Sodom or Gomorrah or not. So when we're having conversation in the 21st century, you have to factor that in. At least factor in the person you're talking to. Do they have the same belief system? Right? So how do you do that? Sometimes it looks like pandering to lames. You have to listen long enough. And again, shout out to Tony. I know he knows this stuff, but I'm talking to you all because I don't think Tony will see this. Okay? But he wasn't listening either. All he wants to do is attack the man for being out of touch.
When the last time you actively been dating? Like not your wife, but you've been in a dating market.
That's the question that the devil will ask Jesus to test him. Like, first of all, I've been married for 18 years. Emma Effa, I'm not going to tell you if there was any type of dating that happened in between. So you're trying to corner me. What's the point of this? You're trying to shame him? Shaming doesn't work. So it's making sense to me why Tony got triggered at some point. Like, out of touch. What's this out of touch stuff, right? But married people, let's keep in mind, anytime you tell single people they can't have a part of the conversation, that's probably what they feel too. Like, what do you mean? Why can't I have just my own opinion? It's just an opinion. Well, your opinions are dangerous. Oh, well, what do we do with that? That doesn't mean you should shut down my opinion or shut down my voice or try to silence me, right? These are the conversations that we need to have. Let's keep going.
This is what you have to understand.
No, so it's the question. You asked me a very direct question. I gave you an answer.
I'm answering you. I'm
okay,
answering
go ahead.
you now. Dating is principle based. It doesn't matter if it's 2023 or 1903. A relationship is based on principles, not the culture, not the trend, not the fad. Love does not change. Love stays the same because God is love and God does not change. Love is not.
Did you see me pause on the facts there? Because I'm trying to, okay, I want to see where it's going with this. When you say God is love, I'm like 100% in on that. Right? That's when I paused again, like, wait, okay, he just said God is love, right? Principles. Part of the principles, sir, is that you have to pay attention to the social construct, the social factors, culture, trends. You have to pay attention to that. And you have to be a very good listener to be able to pay attention to that and not feel like you're losing your own core belief system. Because I know that's the fear. The fear is like, if I listen too much to what's going on in cultural trends, I will lose. Well, guess what else you can lose? You can lose their listening ears. You can lose their attention. If you're going to pretend like you're not aware that there's something called culture and trendy stuff, that's part of the principles. I agree with principles, but we cannot extract, remove culture and trend or how that plays the role in that from that, right? But God is love, right? Exactly.
contingent upon.
If you look at the way he's rolling his eyes, Ace is rolling his eyes right now. He's not listening. It's not listening. He couldn't, because the person that's communicating to is coming from a very biased standpoint. He's not listening either. Right? So it's no wonder where they got to a point later on, right? Where everybody's just triggered. This is exactly what's going to play a part in your romantic relationships. Right? If at least one person cannot say, hey, this moment I got grace, I want to give it to my partner, and listen actively even when you're triggered. If you don't kind of like submit all your biases to this, or your holier than thou sanctimonious beliefs, put that on the side for a second and see where that person is coming from. If you can't do that, if that makes you feel like you're going to lose heaven in that moment, you collect. Let me get this ready. Baba, you will collect.
Sorry.
Human beings are not your mate. Okay? You can't put them in a box. You have to keep listening. You don't have to, if your goal is just live in a cave and not make heaven, please, you don't have to listen to human beings. You just do you. Shout out to the do you us. Let's just do you. There's no one size fits all. Just do you. Anyway, let's keep going.
On strip clubs and pornography and Instagram and social media. So the same way that my wife and I dated is the same way that people who will have a healthy marriage date today. But what you're trying to say is that we should date differently today because it's 2023. And that's not true, because a relationship is based on principles. So
now,
what
is that? Before you go forward, let me say this. I want to be very clear here. Specifically, I said people are not monolithic.
Yeah,
right now you're bringing in God, devil, the Bible, and those are your particular principles, and I respect that, brother. I grew up.
That's it. That's it. The conversation should have ended right there.
I respect what you're saying. Dating, the main purpose of dating, it should be to find a mate. People shouldn't have sex before marriage. From the biblical perspective, I understand your perspective, brother, but I'm not going to dismiss your perspective simply because it doesn't align with mine or this person or that person. I think the particular problem isn't me saying that your take is wrong. I respect it. I enjoy listening to your.
Well, the way Tony is receiving when you say I respect it, shout out to Tony. He's receiving I respect your stance as you're wrong. That's because if he didn't, all he had to do was like, thank you for the conversation. But I'm guessing that's not the end of it. Well, I know that's not the end of it because I stumbled back into the show later on.
Content, but to say how things should work for
that is
all
definitely fantasies,
and dismiss everyone else that doesn't speak your particular alignment, to me, is irresponsible. And the reason I say that is because
that's an attack.
All sorts of people doing all sorts of things, loving all sorts of ways. And if you think that your way is the only way that works, brother, I commend you. I'm just saying there are people from all walks of life that need to hear other perspectives, either to solidify theirs or make them curious about another way that could work better for them. Brother, the one thing you said that was really interesting to me.
You telling me
is
who you're working for.
You said what?
You're telling me who you're working for.
And that's why.
Wait, what? Who is he working for? Let me hear this.
A lot of people. Look,
but meaning you telling
when you say that, when you say that, you go when you and what you're saying,
you're working to provide a platform for all of the voices, for all the different types of people, because people are not a monolith. So the voices that you are giving a platform to have no success if they are not
married
in a healthy relationship.
I just told you that there are people.
He said there are married people there though.
Exactly. That's not what's being posted.
Hey, I got a quick question here.
Oh, okay, that's a good point. He said that's not what's being posted. What what clips are making the viral videos? That would be a good point from Tony Gaskin. What are the clips that are making the most viral videos? All right, because that would tell us a lot. Let me go find this guy because he has a. Let me go to Instagram. Okay, I'm gonna see if I can find some of the most popular viral clips on Instagram. There's receipts everywhere on the internet. Don't you love it? Right? Because that will tell you the pulse. You can feel on the pulse of society if they are because I think Tony is trying to say that the direction that the whole, because even though you say it's different perspectives, right? Which I respect, that we should have different perspectives, there is still a way you can listen to the market and see that they're moving in the wrong direction as a whole. Right? The whole society is moving in one direction. And I can tell you right now with my full chest that yes, the whole society, when it comes to dating, relationship, and not just that, even marriage, they're all moving in the wrong direction. And there will be casualties. Those casualties are going to be their children. Before everything resets back to what it's supposed to be, which is God principles. But while we're doing that, we got to be patient. We got to be patient. We got to listen. Because maybe we can save some people from being casualties, right? But how are we gonna do that if we just volunteer devil into the conversation for no reasons? Metaphor. Let's see. Ace Metaphor. Okay, I found it. Let me see. I think that's him. Yeah, 1.2 million followers. Okay, I'll follow him right now. Let me see. Let's look at this right here. So these are okay. So I can't see his most popular. Okay, I can't really see that. I think they have what do you call it? The name of the platform again. What's the name of the platform? The name of the platform will be what's the name of the platform? Can anybody tell me in the chat? I think it's tonight's conversation. Oh Lord. Let me come here really quickly. Tony's body language is closed off, crossed arms. Good point. Good point. Yep, it's not open. It's not open. Ace definitely seemed like it was a lot more open to the conversation. Ace is Lucifer's prefect in hell. P.O. Box 6666. Exactly, right? Like who? Like what? Who is it working for? Let me see. I think the name is Tonight's Conversations. Let me see if I can find those clips. And let's see who are the most popular. That won't necessarily be their fault. It just means that's what the society is. But it will tell us where the society is. Society, when they're confused, they try to negate the power of experience. And there's nothing else in life that we disrespect like that except romantic relationships and marriage, where we just say we don't need experience. We just need to read books. It's only romantic relationships that we disrespect like that. You need experience. You need all of the perspectives, but especially experience. Okay? Yeah. Married people, gentlemen, ladies and gentlemen, we need to also listen. We need to listen because you can't help people you're not listening to. You can't. You might be able to quote scriptures at them. They can relate because it's religion. A good number of them will follow you just for the religious aspect of it, but they will still learn nothing in terms of application, how this plays out in real life, right? So let me see. I'm looking at this page right now. This page, they all look single. I can't tell. They don't write it on their face. Let's see.
The 2-year boyfriend that I still look out for the ex-husband that I've known since I was 18 years old. So we're great co-parenters. And we have a good relationship, friendship.
All right, we got you.
If I was a person that you were entertaining, I would run fast as hell from you.
Let me follow.
You don't have no boundaries. I'm great. I am 100% effective at co-parenting, but I have boundaries. There are certain conversations that we are not going to have. If it's not related to the child and anything that is related to the child, you should absolutely not have those conversations. The marriage did not work. Now, I'm not saying I know sometimes people jump out of marriages and say, hey, we still can be friends. But the truth is there's still an emotional connection somewhere that you have. So the next person that you're dealing with is going to see that obviously there's still a connection. You can still love a person and put a line straight between y'all and say, I can't do this anymore. I cannot constantly entertain you.
All right, that's a good point. So are these the people that Tony is calling single? He's calling a bunch of them single. I see Deyemi, the actor here. I need to see if I can reach out to Deyemi, the actor. It's a very, yeah, it's a solid guy. We actually were in the once upon a time, we're in one room together on Clubhouse, and he likes talking about marriage and stuff like that. I'll see. I've opened the page on the other page. Let's see here. I can only imagine how many times she's accused her 2-year boyfriend of being insecure and controlling. Right, because he has an ex and they're co-parenting. All right, so they all look single. I guess they all look single, and Tony already said I don't really consume the content, but he wants to have a lot of say about the content, but he doesn't consume the content. That's going to question the credibility of your opinions, obviously. So it's just the way it works. So you want to be a part of the conversation, be a part of the conversation. Make your own moves. You're powerful. Anybody that has 100,000 or more followers on YouTube is powerful. Okay, let's keep going.
Ace, because just to see if there's even any common ground, do you feel like there are some people who should not be putting out relationship content? Do you also feel like there is a group of people who you would deem unqualified to speak on these topics?
Personally,
yes.
You say no.
Man, it's real interesting. I'm so busy with my play, brother, that I don't really look across the aisle. There are content creators that I don't particularly vibe with. I don't like their rhetoric. I don't like the way they speak to women in general.
Okay.
Well,
but there are
I'm not being specific about any.
He's an anti-red pill.
Yeah. Do you more so? Because obviously Tony pretty much stands on, if you're not married, like, you should not necessarily be putting out this work.
I think that's probably, respectfully, man, I think that is
or you just have to frame the conversation. You have to frame the conversation. You have to say, this is not relationship advice. This is my dating experience.
Brother, I don't really think that, to your point, and to answer the question before, do I feel like that there are people that are not qualified
to speak
give general advice,
because they're singles?
Relationship advice to a large percentage of the population? Absolutely. I think that there's people that are not qualified to my metrics. You know what I'm saying? I don't have a problem with somebody.
My metrics sounds like Tony. My metrics. But let me just call it God. To my metrics. What's the metrics? All right.
Here saying this is why I think this or I think that. But what I am saying is for us to not acknowledge the
perspectives, the diversity,
thought processes, and ways in which relationships and love can work for many different people. That to me is hard to wrap my head around. That's the thing that I want to say. It's hard for me to wrap my around. It sounds elitist. It sounds like, you know what I'm saying? And then when you said something, Tony, respectfully, when you said you're working for the other side.
Yeah.
Brother, that's why.
Oh, that's the attack. Shout out to Key. Ace is Lucifer's prefect in hell. P.O. Box 666. Jesus, let me take that off the screen. Jesus, oh.
A lot of people.
There's no way you wouldn't feel attacked with that, Tony. And if the goal is to attack people, it's just hard, It's hard to not look at it as people are gonna look at you as you're jealous.
Will struggle because I think you're implying that the other side is the devil, right? Is that what you're implying?
Meaning you're working for the other side of providing confusion. Because if you have 6 voices on a stage and there's 6 different messages, people leave more confused than they came. And if the people who we are seeing by the millions are not saying anything worthwhile, but it's a meaningless back and forth conversation that does not bring a solution, that does not help us build families, that does not help us better raise children, that does not help us climb the ladder as a people, as a group who are struggling economically, struggling relationally, struggling in every way. When we provide conversations that only bring confusion and don't bring clarity,
it don't seem like
I mean by you working for the other side.
It don't seem like
for the other side.
It really don't seem like, in my opinion, you actually pay much attention to what we got going on over here.
No, he admitted that too.
I'm respectfully saying that. I'm respectfully saying when you.
All right, so if I have to use the word respectful, ladies and gentlemen, more than 3 times in the same conversation, there's a good chance I don't respect you. Or at least I'm struggling to respect you. Right? The body language says it all. What you do says it more than what you're saying. Right? A lot of respectfully. These people don't respect each other. Why can't they just stay in their own lanes? It's clear that they have completely different belief system when it comes to religion. And that should be fine. Why is that not going to be fine? Like in what developed world will that not be fine? Right? And if you see that somebody has their faith, the way they interpret faith is kind of different, like just respectfully bow out of the the conversation. Right? Because when I'm talking, if I use the word devil, I'm probably talking about you. I know, no, but I always say like the devil is probably more like you, right? Because it's going to use you, right? And whatever devil is, if it's a thing, it's a spirit, but it's going to use you. So let's talk about you and your skill set when it comes to relationship, dating, and marriage. That's what we need to be talking about, right? Because a lot of time, believe it or not, when you say devil, people just like, oh, you're right, it's the devil. They point fingers to the outside. The devil uses you.
You can use the adjectives you want to use, and then you don't empty messages. You can use all these adjectives, but just because you're making these blanket statements, that's why I said it's dangerous. It's dangerous when you're making blanket statements without having all the factual information.
Statement. It's not a blanket.
It is a blanket statement. You're making blanket statements, and you're putting people's names in it. You're putting people's names in it.
I'm living this as a husband and a
your
father,
truth,
which is successful
for you
and for our community. It's not just for me. Principles are principles. So
right, but your principle, you're not the only person with principles.
You're promoting casual sex.
So it's
promoting
personal.
hookup culture. And then you say you bring it. Let me ask you this. Let me ask you.
Wait. You're promoting casual sex and hookup culture? I haven't listened to Ace long enough. It doesn't sound like it to me. You know, my discernment thing is kind of sharp. Just from the couple of clips we played today, it doesn't sound like it. If anything close to that is that Tony is really coming off from a place of being sanctimonious. Right? But he's not going to be able to address that because he's about to make another point right now. The way he's coming off at Ace is quite, what's the word? Respectfully, what's the word? Respectfully, it's quite sassy, spicy, you know. Now, his energy naturally is like he's using a lot of hand gestures, like in the tone, big voice, right? So they're intimidating each other at this point. And this conversation, outside of what we're doing here, of course, let me act like Tony. We are the only platform where we speak the truth. Okay? This is the only platform. I'm just kidding. But outside of the lessons we're pulling out of this right now, this is just entertainment. It's bass. It's the versus competition. And the devil, guess what the devil loves? Exactly that, Mr. Tony Gaskins.
Ask you this. You having a conversation. You watching me online. You say you appreciate my message. Why haven't you called me to your conversation?
Tony, why don't we talk about that, Mr. Tony Gaskins? That's what we should be talking about. Right? But he's asking from a standpoint of, you work for the other side. That's why you didn't call me. He's made up his mind, and that's the point he's trying to land here. You work for the other side, and that's why you haven't called me. Tell the truth and put the devil to shame.
You know what? Why he doing all that? Look, why he doing all that? Now listen. Why he doing? Look, he doing all that. Hold on. Why he doing all that? Why he doing all that? Look, why he doing all that? Now listen,
That's
why
my
he doing?
point.
Look, he doing all that.
You say you bringing all the voices. You say you bringing all.
Whoa! You doing all that? You doing all that?
How you not gonna call something?
It's interesting that the chat I was looking at yesterday, they were heavily 99% on the side of Tony Gaskins. I think there was one person that was going in. I was like, no, like no, this is just wrong, you know. But I think that all the initiated platform has a lot of people that are struggling, and they've yielded to religion and faith-based, and that's fine, you know. But we gotta speak in the same language, because that's, speaking of the devil, that's one of the tools that the devil uses. He did a rule. He will just mess up your languages. You'll be speaking two different languages, and that's all it takes. That's all it takes, right? So, and Tony Gaskins has a point there, because he kept saying we need to have that one voice. He wasn't talking about himself. He was talking about the principles that walk across the board, and not just all over the place. Woke, Indomie generation, just do you. I think just the do you thing is destroying people. There's no one size fits all message that, in quotes, is destroying people right now as we speak, because they say there's no principles, but yet in the same breath they put together an event to share a bunch of principles, but it's confusion because there's too many languages going on at the same time. And I think that's a major point that Tony is trying to make. He wasn't trying to say himself, but it kept coming off as if he was saying himself. So it takes a lot of patience to be able to land that point. You can't be all sassy, sarcastic, condescending. If you do all of that, people will catch feelings. They will feel like you're attacking them, which is why this gentleman jumped on this platform to come and defend himself. Let's keep going.
Somebody who got 3.5 million people online and have been in the trenches since 2007, but you bringing all the sides. You ain't bringing all the sides. You ain't bringing all the sides. You bringing the side that you want to bring, and then you trying to take me to task for my words, and you trying to hold me for every word, but you didn't catch that.
There you
just
go.
Call what you doing a play.
What do you? I don't know what.
So when somebody say you're holding me for every word, he's saying, listen, I might say some things that's off, and that's kudos to him for that, because I do say things that might be off, things that I have no intentions to hurt anybody, but they might take it wrongly, right? I might say things like, well, single people, you know, blah blah blah, and then single people are taking an offense because emotions is anybody's mate. Emotions no be your mate, right? And let me make that point here right now, okay? I understand why it's offensive to say single people cannot have conversations about relationship, marriage, and dating. Okay? And the more, I don't think I've ever said it, but I might have sounded like it. If I ever say single people cannot talk about relationships, or quote unquote advice, I think precisely we say advising each other. It's like the blind leading the blind. That's what we're yielding to there. If I ever said that, I don't mean that. Obviously, you can help. A lot of this stuff is, you know, quote unquote common sense, but there's that little nuance that's usually missing that creates divorce, and that's the part that the experience brings in. And the experience can say, hey, I know you want to apologize and you need apology, but you gotta be careful with that apology stuff. It's destroying more marriages than it's building anything because of the obsession with it as a tool or solution. It is not a solution. A person needs to kind of ask you for apology, and you need to first of all comprehend that you're wrong before you're tendering apology. If you don't do that, that means you're just tendering apologies as a getaway card. Let me escape. I don't want them out. Let me just say I'm sorry. And people that tend to do that, they tend to crave it more, and they will say the other side doesn't apologize. See, on the surface, it sounds good. It sounds like it's just considerate. You should be able to say, I'm sorry. Well, no, there's a lot more going on there, right? And it takes experience to know that, for the most part. It takes a very special single person to know that. It's not very often that they know this type of nuances, because you can't comprehend a lot of things that you don't know, okay? There's a lot of things, something that you're not already experiencing. This is a big deal. This is life and death we're talking about here, right? It's hard to comprehend certain things, and that's why you need, like, the society will be better. Dating and relationships and marriage will be better once the society crave enough, that is the voices of the ones with the experience that goes viral. Until then, when I just teach each other. Okay, it is what it is. But the point I'm making here is that no, I don't think single people should not have an opinion. In fact, I think they should have an opinion so we can hear them out. And I think married people should listen more. I think leadership should listen more. Leadership doesn't mean you just spit down people's throats. It means you listen more so you can actually help them by actually helping them. That's what I think it means, you know. So I apologize if I've ever sounded like I'm saying single people should not have an opinion. In the grand scheme of things, that doesn't make any sense. The people you're trying to help cannot have an opinion. No, they should have an opinion. It should be case by case. If they say anything that's off, I can also respectfully say, hey, have you considered this angle? This is the angle. Well, when you're married, you will notice this, that. Oh, here's an example, right? Yeah, I gotta be patient in leading that direction, as opposed to generalize and say all single people. It's just another form of generalization and oversimplification of very complex issues. Because now, if they start to feel attacked by me because I've been married, how are they gonna? They're not gonna want to hear me. And that's what you're seeing being demonstrated here right now. This young man represents all the single people that will feel attacked. And Tony represents like I have the answers. You're nitpicking my words. Well, you're both doing it to each other, right? Anyway, let's continue.
You mean about a play? You just said I'm so focused on my play.
My plate, PLATE, plate. This is the last. I messaged you March 10th. Yo, would love to feature you on my podcast. We're shooting April 28th, 29th. Any interest? And then it was like an automatic reply that said you don't receive messages, so I didn't attempt that way again. Brother,
Context. Quincy says, do you think that relationship advice should be secular and faith-based? Did you mean or you mean and, right? I think the advice needs to come from, like, when I say God, right, and we explained it well in the book, right? When I say God, it just means, in a lot of ways, it means love, right? I think it's the only source of love, personally. Because human beings are human beings. Our head is not correct like that. We all act out of our feelings, okay? Sometimes we'll call it religion or we call it faith-based, but it's all our feelings at the end of the day. Sometimes just calling it faith makes us feel safer, right? But we're all the same. So in a sense, we're all monolithic, but you can't address it like that because how we express is different from people to people. So in that same breath, if a person is going through something or they have a question about faith, they need to go to the people they respect. They need to go to people that have the results they are looking for. And that has nothing to do with secular or faith. So from where I was raised, being a Nigerian man and seeing the village and seeing the best of both worlds, right? That has always existed. There's some kind of elder that's not necessarily Jesus freak, right? In fact, he does Jesus and mix it together with agbo. With herbs and like traditional religious stuff, right? And that's how they did their life, right? And those people have a word of wisdom for you because they have the results that you're looking for, and they can listen to your story and they can say, yeah, well, just go. I know you're thinking about it, go this way, and they can guide you, right? That is education. It's still coming from the best source ever, experience, right? So I'm not sure. Let me stand on this. Secular or faith is irrelevant. However, some people, what they can respect is faith-based, which means it will be more effective for them to hear from people who are given relationship faith-based. I've heard God enough. I've read the book enough, the scriptures, to know that all the relationship advice you could ever get is in that book. However, it's subject to interpretation, right? So it just depends. It depends on who is asking, who is looking, who is seeking advice. The person who does not believe in Jesus is the way, the truth, and the life is automatically not going to hear what you have to say because it's irrelevant. You know what I mean? And every single one of us have to deal with relationships in one shape, form, or the other. Every single one of us. This is just the one thing that we all have to deal with. Even if you are running away from marriage, you will still deal with relationships. So that principles is universal in nature, which tells me the only source of it is God. But how we express it can be different from people. If somebody's bringing devil, before we talk about devil, that can throw people off, like, what do you mean by devil? Like, now, or it can engage them in the wrong direction, meaning they're engaging what is actually a matter of skills and game. They're engaging it with over spirituality, right? And that means they never get to the solution, because they're dealing with an actual human being, another human being, and they need to learn game. They need to learn emotional intelligence, social intelligence. They need to learn those actual things, not just in romantic relationships, obviously in life. So I'm not sure if it needs to be one or the other. I think you should yield to where you find your wise counsel. That could come from anywhere. That could come from a donkey. But I think experience is a big deal. I think experience is an extremely big deal, and I think it's being disrespected as a concept. But that's okay, because there will be casualties. They will self-correct, and some people will miss out on life. And those that want to listen, we're here. We're talking about it. Advice usually reflects real life. The 10 Commandments is built on human activity and weakness like jealousy, fornication, theft. Exactly. Let's keep going.
Yeah, respect. Yeah, bro. I got a website, man. You know how to reach me. I got a website.
Man, I'm 30.
Oh, and yeah, to be clear, obviously, Tony is coming from a faith-based, right? But he doesn't want that to remain that way. That's Delulu. If it's faith-based, it's faith-based, right? Like, I can hear his accent, his southern accent. If you ask me what accent that is about 26 years ago, I don't know what he's talking about. I can't hear his language at all. I can hear it now because I've been around for a minute. But 26 years into the past, I couldn't, and I was an adult, and there's no way I could hear his English, right? So should I go to him for advice all the time? I'm just giving you one additional dimension that will become a communication barrier, right? If faith represents communication barrier, it is what it is. If race represents communication barrier, it is what it is. You have to respect that and yield accordingly so that you can actually land the message. The message is the message, right? But sometimes you have to package it in a way that is receptive, right? And if that means pandering, so be it, right? But the goal is the goal. The purpose is the purpose. You don't have to, like, every individual don't have to relate with the purpose, but the message has to get to the point, right? And if there's a barrier, never mind your intentions. Never mind that you mean well. There's a barrier. There's a lot of people with good intentions. They end up in divorce court all the time because they don't pay attention to this one thing, right? And that's why it's necessary to hear all perspectives too. All of those is dimensions. That's why the only solution to all of this is active listening. That if you want to put anything into like one box, you put it into active listening. Understand where the people you're talking to, where they're coming from. Apply some empathy, right? And then maybe we'll find out that you actually have the authentic message. Until then, no. And it doesn't matter that you said God or devil, right? It's the result, ultimately, that we have to look at, right? And I'm not talking about making heaven as the result. I'm talking about the result, the relationship. Did this person actually learn something from you that they can take back to their relationship? If that's working for you. And I think some people need to hear it from a faith-based, right? There's Pastor Kingsley. Check him out if you don't know Pastor Kingsley. Pastor Kingsley is very good at finding some kind of balance. Even at that, the church folks don't like him like that. There's a lot of church folks that don't like his message because they think it's watered down, right? That's just human beings. You can't satisfy everybody, and you shouldn't try to, right?
35, brother. We do.
You know how to reach me. I got a website.
Man, I'm 35, brother. We do things a little differently.
I'm 39, bro. Don't act like you at another generation.
So here's the thing. It sounds like we might be seeing TG on the next
tonight's conversation.
That's what it sounds like.
I hope so.
Ace, by the way, that's enough. That's enough for the stage. Just him and Ace.
Because you can't put this Ace. You can't put a brother like this on the stage with anybody that's even halfway single. Now here's the thing. Here's what I want to ask about this.
I don't mind being single people. What I'm saying is frame the conversation. We can't let it go out as relationship advice. This is a single experience, or this is a hookup experience.
Okay.
Or this is I'm divorced and I'm telling
that is receiving that as an attack. Ace is receiving that as an attack right now, so speak, because he's like, no, you're watering down what we're doing.
telling you what went wrong in my marriage. But this is going out to the millions as relationship advice. And so what I'm saying is, if you send the
but that's precisely what they want it to go out as. Are you saying they're not good enough relationship advice? Because then it's like
message of a single man who is having sex with women and dating. If you send that message viral, give the equal pressure and push of the therapist that you say you have on there, or the married person that you say you have on there who is happy and healthy, and do that split test of A and B so that it balances the conversation. Anytime I see something from tonight's conversation, it's on the same side of the line, and it is very confusing. I don't know what I just heard, what the
I did say confusing earlier, but that was when it was the first clip, right? But maybe because the 16 years marriage in me.
purpose of it was, it's a man.
It's like, what do you talk boundaries? Like, what?
Man arguing at a woman arguing at a man, and there's no solution, there's no takeaway. It's all sensationalism. And one thing that I know is happening is money is being made, but there's no progress being made. And then a lot of times, if it's progress, we're gonna feel it. And so my thing is, I'm not with
this Indomie generation will call you a hater if you keep talking about their money and no progress. Okay, they will call you a hater. That's what's gonna happen. There's no way around it.
the confusion and the games. I'm very direct in what I say. I'm very real about what I stand on. And at this stage in our life, especially in the black race, we need results. We need solutions. We need progression. We need we need healthy families and we need marriage.
I want to respond to that because again,
are you married?
No, I'm not. Again,
so how you
hey brother, I done let you get your long little monologues out, and I just want to respond. What I'm saying to you is, I wish you would say
long little monologue. Are you married? Are those compliments? Are those compliments for each other? What do you think? You tell me. Are those compliments? Are you married? Your long little monologue.
Say I more when you speak.
What?
I wish you would say I more when you speak. This is how I feel. This is what I think. This is the path. Because my only issue with what you're saying is you're not including that. Brother, if that works for you, great. But you have to understand that people that come ask questions that are at our shows, they're asking about them having casual sex. They're asking about this heartbreak that they didn't experience. They're asking about how do they find themselves again, how to have self-forgiveness, how to do this, that, and other. They're asking about a host of different things, brother. And sometimes I'm the most qualified person to speak to their experience or to give them advice on it. Sometimes it's Kitty. Sometimes it's Trip, the person you said, oddly, never been that guy, but I've known Trip since we were kids and he's always been that guy. My point I'm trying to make is,
that's the one with the beard and the glasses, and that's probably not really him. That's what Tony said, right? You're making a statement about people that you don't really know or you don't have any experience with. Well, he did have experience. They're public figures at this point, so maybe he can speak to that. But again, that's why he said you're responsible. If you're going to speak at the personal level, we're all public figures, it's going to come off as personal, even though you don't really know them like that.
I'll benefit to do a little bit more homework here. You know what I'm saying? And that's me being respectful. And then when you speak to every clip that you've seen, every 60-second clip that you've seen may speak more about your algorithm than you think.
Why is it drinking water is it me or is it drinking water every second? What is going on, Tony? You okay over there? Everything all right? Blink if you need help.
Brother, we post a host of different clips. If you go down our page right now, you'll see 4 or 5 clips on forgiveness. You'll see 4 or 5 clips on motherhood. You'll see 4 or 5 clips on us progressing as black people in this country. And my point is, even further, if you want to actually watch the episodes, you'll get a further context. Brother, I can't speak for your algorithm, brother. Yes, we post a host of different.
You're not on my algorithm. I'm just correct. You're not on my algorithm.
Let me finish. Let me finish. I let you finish your monologues.
No, I just don't want you to put out false things because we do grab.
Like you are.
I'm just letting you know that it's not from my algorithm.
Right. So if you haven't, so what I'm saying is, if you.
So when they're saying algorithm, they're talking about their mindset or the actual algorithm. I think they're talking about like your algorithm. I can't speak for how you think or what kind of content you consume or what's in your head. Is that what they're saying?
Having property. This is my thing. And you know, I respect your work and I would love to have you.
You do not respect this, man. You said respectfully about 50,000 times today. That's you're struggling to respect at least where it's at today. You respect where it's coming from. It was the OG, right? It's been around for 20 years. Shout out to Quincy, told us earlier, right? Yeah, but nah, you're struggling. But it's understandable because you felt like your platform was attacked. You felt like you've been doing great work. I'll tell you right now, my sentiment is closer to Tony's. There's a lot of conversations going on that's leading nowhere. That's a fact. This has nothing to do with out of touch. We're looking at you. You're complaining about it, that you don't like what's going on in your dating scenes. And it's obvious because there's a lot more. There's oversupply of coaches. Okay. And people like us that were younger platform, it's not easy for me to say that because, you know, it's like, oh, you have your own platform that's growing here on YouTube, you know? How dare you say that? I know. But I'm just saying the number of coaches out there and the number of conversations going on and these different ideologies, everybody should do them because there's no particular principle, but we must make money from live events nonetheless. And the results that it seems like you're creating, it's not hiding up, right?
On the panel, I think even coming to a show, you would see how different of an experience than what you think it actually is.
He's not coming to your show.
Would be, but what I would say is this: whether it's your algorithm or not, whether it's people sending it to you or not, yes, we post all
he was talking about the actual algorithm. He's saying, like, I don't see your stuff in my feed. I don't care who you are.
Host and field a whole bunch of different questions from people from different walks of life and experiences. And so, yes, one question may be quote unquote sensationalized, but that was a real question from an audience member. This question may be like, man, how do I find my confidence again after postpartum depression? And that's a clip that got just as many viral views. This question might be about somebody having casual sex and being
you can't front on that.
But this question was about a woman.
If that's actually real, you can't front on that. I just started following them, as you saw earlier.
Woman saying, you know what, I feel like a single mother, even though I'm married. What do I do? And that clip got 10, 15 million views too. I can't speak to just a few clips that you've seen. And so when
No, but to Tony's point, if somebody says, I feel like a single mother and I'm married, Tony will have better perspective for that person than you. 9 times out of 10 times. Doesn't mean you can't have a good advice. It doesn't mean, but in terms of nuanced advice obviously will be led by actually listening to that person's story. A clip at an event that went viral, that's sensationalized, that might actually be more destructive. Not because it was a bad advice, because a lot of people will project and relate with it and try to copy paste, and it just doesn't work out like that, you know. But even what I just said, I don't know, man. You know, relationships are very complex. We need to be operating only at micro levels. And that's very difficult because these issues are entertaining. It's going to be very hard to ask Ace Metaphor to stop making hundreds, millions of dollars from these events. It's going to be very, very hard. That would be unrealistic expectations, Tony Gaskins. So maybe we need to approach it from another angle. It's definitely not going to be coming from a sanctimonious place or attacking them. They don't have respect. And I mean that in a very nice way. One, you respect. Like they will disrespect you if you don't come correct. If you don't listen long enough, this Indomie generation will disrespect you. Okay, and they will call it respectfully. I'm not saying it's disrespectful, by the way, but rightfully his platform has been attacked, and a 35-year-old grown man's platform attacked. He has the right to come and defend it.
Using that to frame, hold on, excuse me. When you're using that to frame and say,
hey, calm down though, bro. Because you getting a little too much bass in your voice. So
hold tight. Hey, listen. Hey, Mr. Gaskins. Mr. Gaskins.
Right, it's like whoa, wait. Let's go back there.
When you're using that to frame, hold on, excuse me. When you're using that to frame and say,
it said, hold on, excuse me, is passionate, just like Tony Gaskins has been quite passionate with this conversation, right? And so, whoa, hold on. A little too much bass in your voice there, little homie. Little homie, me, your papa. Anyway, let me see. I think Ace was talking about algorithms in the real sense of the word, based on the stuff that has gone viral, reflecting this. Yes, I figured that out at some point. Oh my God, these guys, man.
Hey, calm down though, bro.
Again, let me say this because I'm about to round up. This is demonstrating that this could be any one of us. This conversation has nothing to do with religion in the real sense of it. Devil, relevant. Okay, this is interaction between two human beings, and this is how easy it is to get lost in the source of things, even when you mean well. Even if you've had experience. Imagine not having any experience, right? So right now, when he said, hey, turn down that little voice, bass voice in your voice, I think he was trying to say I think he was trying to make a statement that I'm a man. I personally, I haven't been in this position. I might do the same thing, but that's a point of weakness. If I ever feel the need to remind you I'm a man, either by the tone of my voice or shutting you down or anything like that, I already felt attacked. I felt, some type of way. I'm in my feelings now at this point. Okay.
The frame, hold on, excuse me. When you're using that to frame and say,
hey, calm down though, bro.
Calm down, you little boy.
Too much bass in your voice. So
a little too much bass in your voice. Calm down, little boy. A little boy, a little bro. Which one?
Hold tight. Hey, listen. Hey.
And then he started laughing.
Hey, Mr. Gaskins.
Mr. Gaskins. That's another respectfully, by the way. Mr. Gaskins.
Mr. Gaskins. Let's keep the conversation. Mr. Gaskins, first of all, here's the thing. Anybody has watched my videos know I talk that way. Brother, when you say some stuff like that, you know what you're saying, dog. What I'm saying is you got on a platform.
I told you they will disrespect you. If you attract it, Baba, they will disrespect you. So you know what you're saying, dog. It's not Mr. Gaskin anymore, dog. He whole dog.
And you're spreading misinformation. You're spreading misinformation. You say don't spread misinformation about an algorithm, but you got on this platform and you've already admitted that you ain't really deep dived in our content, and you speaking as if you know what we are doing.
At this point, oh my God, the chat was going crazy. Oh my God, let me see here. Look at this. Lisa said, bye Ace. You can't stop TG, no day or time. Jesus, I want to leave, but Tony, I must stay. These boys. This is his interview. Well, that's fair. To be fair, that was supposed to be his interview. But then you called his name, so he jumped on and the host allowed him on, right? Ace sounds like my manipulative, narcissistic ex. You see, Mr. Tony, I don't think that's what you wanted. You didn't want people to start labeling people manipulative and narcissistic because of a conversation that clearly both of you were not prepared for. That's not what you wanted, but this is what it breeds. Regardless of how holy and sanctimonious you are, this is what it breeds. Somebody said, never heard of Ace. Now he about to start hollering. Somebody said, we done. Do you, Ace? It definitely doesn't feel like you respect this man or his work, let alone the message that he's trying to tell you, brother. Nah, I said that earlier. I don't think so. Let's keep going.
And so we want to take your bait.
Listen, I got a question.
That's what he's doing.
One second.
Hey, so let me ask you this question, because we got the super chats coming in. And I think this is a question that, the chat really wants to know. And shout out to Beautify by Lorraine. She says, if the goal is marriage, How can someone give relationship advice that leads to a successful marriage if they are not married?
So the answer to the question is, if that person's individual goal is marriage. I want to first say that. If that person's...
Well, that's a terrible answer, Mr. Ace. Mr. Ace Metaphor. That's a terrible answer. Let me teach you small. Real quick before we continue. Hold on. Key says, but from what I understand about algorithms, all it takes is watching one clip and all of a sudden you will get all of these recommendations. I don't know why Tony is heated about it. Yeah, it depends on so many. That's one of the variables. But there's other variables like, do you have other clips that you watched that day? What kind of space is available in your newsfeed? It's demand and supply basically. But that is one major, like if you watch long enough, absolutely you will start getting flooded. And if they're getting popular, they're trendy at that point. So basically the algorithm feeds you what makes them more money. Kind of like Hayes metaphor. According to Tony Gaskins. Anyway, what's going on, gracious greatness? Wow, it seems we are so quick to take sides. Listen, are you just coming in? Let's see, let's keep going.
Individual goal is marriage. That's one thing. If that person's individual goal is marriage.
So that leads to a successful marriage.
Let's hear the question again.
How can beautify by Lorraine? She says, if the goal is marriage, how can someone give relationship advice that leads to a successful marriage if they are not married?
All right. So there's not one single. Here's the best answer, my opinion, of course. If there's not one single advice that exists that leads to successful marriage. This is why I look at people that say, why did you do vet very well? I look at them funny. I say, there's not one single element, moment, or single anything that leads to successful marriage. It just doesn't exist. So yes, a single person might give you an advice in the moment that has to do with your particular question, and the advice can be solid. Now, if they continue to be your mentor and you're inside of a marriage and they're single, then we might have a problem, because we might, because there's no absolutes in any of this stuff, right? So, but you start to answer and say it depends on what their goal is. No. This is the part where it's trying to adjust for the goal can be dating or just for fun. The fun thing is stuff we do, like Indomie generation. Listen to me. The fun stuff, we all kind of did that. But it was like, right? You did it because you're not supposed to do it, right? You're not supposed to do the fun stuff, not before marriage. But you did anyway. It's okay. No one is perfect, right? But you don't be all loud about it and start turning it into rules. It's going to become chaotic. Chaotic is the word I'm looking for. That's going to be chaotic. So no, it doesn't depend on, the goal is marriage, it's family, it's companionship, long term. Because that's the cornerstone of developed societies, obviously. Right? So let's hear his answer again. You see what direction is going. Me too, I say depend a lot. And I think a lot of people are scared of depend. And I think depend is necessary a lot. But you're going to fall in the hands of Tony. Is going to eat you up right now. Let's watch it.
So the answer to the question is, if that person's individual goal is marriage. I want to first say that. If that person's individual goal is marriage, that's one thing. And for that being said, there are people, to Tony's point, that have navigated that course and can give better insight if the goal is to be married. And you can look at their track history. This is why we have married.
But hey, another mistake. They said the question said that leads to successful marriage. So if you're really paying attention to your dependency there, the answer should have been about marriage. There's no need to bring in all these extras. It's like we're having a conversation about marriage and people come in, but not everybody is designed for marriage. Why are we talking about that? We knew that. Now you are triggering me because we didn't say everybody is supposed to be for marriage. But I'm wondering, why are you here in this conversation? And that's what a lot of people in the new generation, that's what they do when they're trying to bring in too many nuances. Which there are nuances, but the nuances are in the wrong direction. There are nuances in each person's experience, but at the macro level, societal level, the only thing we disrespect where we don't have any structure is romantic relationships. Have you paid attention to that? That's the only thing. And that's the one single thing that destroys people the most. Particularly emotionally. Like as in, like if somebody break up with you today, you can't work. You can't think straight. So think about that on a consistent basis over a long time period, or after about 50 breakfasts. And after you're like, oh, I've broken up, I'm ready to dip. Remember in the beginning he said it takes one little thing to dip. Like if every time you dip like that, you're creating more damages, emotional damage. You don't get away with that just because you think you're dipping so quick. You don't get away with that. That's going to haunt you around. There's a reason. There's a real emotional reason why you dipped, and somebody's also been tampered with. And those people go back into the world and they replicate the same issues. That's where Tony is coming from. We need some kind of structure. We need to stop saying that everybody should just do what works for them, because clearly it's not working. Particularly per your own words.
People on our panel.
He thought he gave a perfect answer. But here's the thing I want us to do, married people. Listen all the way to the answer. And they say, have you considered this? What about this? Okay. What principles do you think work across the board? I understand that everybody's story is different, but what principles would you say? Give me 3 that you think work just across the board. And you got to be calm enough to have that conversation. Everybody will learn from that. All the trolls will disappear because it's too settled, right? But the trolls came in. They were entertained by this bass boss. It is what it is.
Okay.
But not everybody's goal in dating is marriage. Brothers, for every one person.
That is perversion. Not everybody will end up in marriage is different from not everybody's goals is marriage. There are people that are setting those goals, but there are people that are, listen, it's not even only marriage we're talking about, okay? People are coming up with new concepts and new alternative concepts, and they will still eventually waste a lot of time, and they will gravitate back to what nature says, right? This is just stop paying attention to it. Now, the only difference between me and Tony is that I'm not trying to change anybody. Casualties is part of life. It's part of any type of warfare, this is warfare. So it is fine with me. But once people are ready, we're ready to teach them, to coach them. Okay? And I'm not going to push anything down anybody's throats because they're going to spit it out. And they're going to feel funny. Right? Gracious Greatness say, yes, I'm just coming in. It's 5:17 a.m. over and I've just woken up to this and saw your live. Shout out to you. Yeah, so let's keep going.
Person that's dating to try to find marriage, there's 3 or 4 people dating just to find themselves.
Dating to find yourself. That one is I have to take that in. Dating to find yourself. That person you're dating go collect. That one I think is probably dating for marriage or something. Let's date each other to find ourselves.
4 or 5 people dating in an experimental way.
Did they both agree to experiment?
6 or 7 people dating just to distract themselves from a heartbreak. So not.
Okay, that part, it's not something you plan to go and do though. Like get out there and date, take your mind off of a heartbreak, I guess. Okay. All right, maybe that will make sense. Those are all the nuances he wants to bring in. And Tony's like, nah, when you break up, you come back to the church and talk to the pastor. Okay? You come back to the church, you talk to the pastor. And then we'll give you the handbook. We'll find you a wife. We'll arrange it. Because arranged marriage lasts longer. They don't want the arranged marriage, Baba. They don't want it. How can I spell this out? Tony, they don't want arranged marriage. They don't want what they don't want. Just let them be. Another set of generation is coming in right behind them. It will all be fine after all. And that's a fact. But Tony, no, that's not no fact. That ain't the truth. The devil's a lie.
Everybody that's out here dating is dating to be married.
Wall Street is taking you for a ride.
Wall Street.
You don't even know it. The market makers can
Get out of
see every
here.
trade you make. Buying of
Married. And some people are dating just for fun. They're dating from a recreational sense. We get up here on this podcast.
Yeah, but people that are heartbroken were not doing it from recreational sense. If they were truly doing it from a recreational sense, they wouldn't be heartbroken. They would just let the person go. Clearly, at least one person thought it was supposed to be ever happily ever after. So again, single people, I respect you, your opinions and all this, but these are the reasons why it might look like we push back sometimes. Your results are not hiding up. Listen. Your results are not hiding up. I know what you're thinking. I know what you're thinking right about now.
How, Sway?
I don't have the answers. I know. I don't have the answers, Sway. But it's not hiding up. Your results are not hiding up. You know? What's going on, Lady Navoa? She says, okay, out from the Cloud MOP. I'm tired, long day, have test this week. Oh, God bless you. Thank you for being here. Thank you. Right. Houseway. Let me see if I can round this up quickly too, because I'm on mountainside, mountain time. So that's why right now it's 10:30 a.m. for me.
Can't say
10:30 p.m. rather.
Oh, in a perfect world, everybody would be dating for marriage, but this world ain't perfect. Most of your listeners have been led on, or misled, or time has been wasted on somebody they thought was intentionally dating, but that person was just recreational or experimental dating.
So let's just agree to recreational, right? Let's just agree to date recreationally. Bro, oh my God, that's why they call it perversion. I love something that Tony said yesterday, which is the goal. If you want to get excellence, you shoot for perfection. Because I push against anything that looks like perfect, but I'm pushing against unrealistic expectations, not necessarily perfection. But it makes sense that if you want excellence, you gotta shoot high enough. Because if you shoot too low, you're gonna end up with nothing, right? So now we should just settle for everybody should just agree. Let's just be intentional. Is that what we call intentional? It's no wonder your results are not adding up. They're not adding up. Oh, maybe the point is to just be like the big pharma. Just create more problems so we can make more money. Because that's what Tony is saying. Let's just create more problems and make more money. Is that what's happening here? Listen, I don't expect you to admit to it, okay? I'm dead in the middle with this, guys, okay? I think Tony needs to tone down a little bit on this so they can hear him, so he can be a part of the conversation. I think he definitely has a lot more to learn. Shout out to Ace Metaphor. I'm sure he's viral. He can speak at the top of his lung, and before you know it, you're listening long enough, even though you're confused, the algorithm will just spread it. That's what the algorithm spreads. Entertainment. Okay? Entertainment value is what the algorithms spread. Okay, and that's one of the issues that Tony has. But I don't have those issues. It's just a reality. We, as leaders, we need to learn how to mitigate. We need to learn how to navigate that. That's the only way out. Calling the devil into this conversation is not going to help.
So my point is, yes, if the goal is marriage and two people link and both of their goals are united as marriage, yes, a spiritual path.
Now he's looking for perfection. Both of them just come like this, and yeah.
For that is spiritual advice is a good place to start. Somebody like Tony will be a great place to start. But getting to a person and finding a person and avoiding people that are not there to get you there is also a path too. And there are people that have been in this dating situation so long that they know how to recognize red flags a little bit.
Yay! Number one red flag. The people that have been in the dating game so long, all they know how to recognize is red flags. How helpful is that? How's that helping? How's that working out?
Better than people that haven't. And so those people have a voice too. And those people reach people too. So for us to act like we live in this idealistic world where every...
But you just said some people who are like perfect, they already have both intentions to come together. But you can't make this up. The confusion is real. He's accusing him of the same thing that he's doing.
Thing is how it should be. And we're not dealing with a whole bunch of BS in this dating situation. I just think is out of.
He has a point. He's just trying to say there's so many things going on. We have to be able to pay attention to the numerous different perspectives. He's right about that. Ultimately, he's right about that. I just think they're speaking from two different places, two different languages, and with existing biases, they don't like each other. All right, and this is just a basketballs, okay? Not what we're doing here, but what they did yesterday.
Touch, for real.
Now let me say this, because it's some people in the chat now that's a little worried. The thing is, both.
No, they were taking sides with Tony Gaskins. Shout out to Natu. They were taking sides with Tony Gaskins. There's a lot of Tony Gaskins in the chat. A lot of people requested him to be on the show, and that's understandable. And I respect him. Listen, like I said earlier on, 98% of what Tony Gaskins has to say when he's settled in his zone. I don't think he needs to go on this other podcast and stuff. I think he needs to sit in a Sprinter and do his shows from there. Because I respect 98% of everything he has to say. But when he's triggered, Baba just go straight for devil and porn and masturbation. You just start talking all kind of like, Baba, who is talking about masturbation now? Let people who are masturbating brief. Okay. Now, I do think masturbation and porn is dangerous. I just don't think it's necessary if it's not relevant to the conversation to bring it into the conversation, right? Let's keep going.
For y'all, our leaders in the space, regardless of who likes what, both of y'all got millions of.
Man, that man told me to take some bass out of my voice, and that crossed the line to me.
Listen, Ace,
that was crossing the line.
He said, "Listen,
bro. You hear what I'm
bro, I always got bass in my voice.
Listen, guys, I really don't want to have to end this conversation.
Keep the love.
Because I do got just one more.
He felt some type of way. If somebody told me to take the bass out of my voice, about that bass will come out more. I'm just letting you know.
One more question.
Especially the Indomie generation, the bass will get deeper. They will even call you names if you're not careful.
Like I was saying, I feel like that was unprofessional. It really was.
It was unprofessional. Don't argue that. What's his name? Ryan is like, can we stop?
Hey, stop with the gaslighting. It was unprofessional.
Wait, not the gaslighting. Wait. That's another buzzword that's destroying relationships.
It really was.
Hey, stop with the gaslighting. It was unprofessional with you yelling. So we having a conversation. And what you got to...
He wasn't yelling. He was speaking. But it might have been hearing, these things will give you a false sense of yelling sometimes. So it just depends on what angle is listening to. It also depends on if you already felt like a person is disrespectful to you too. Yeah, that can start to, you interpret everything from your feelings.
Realize what I'm telling you is, I understand.
Yo, have you seen any of my videos, bro?
Yes, I've seen your videos.
How do I do my videos?
What did I say?
Wait, fellas, I don't want to get too caught up in the conversation about this, because
that's what I try to tell y'all.
This one is tone policing. That's the Indomie generation that will accuse you of that too.
Bro, this is what I try to tell y'all. Y'all want to bring Ace on here? Let Ace come on here and talk. You bring me on here, let me talk. Because I don't, where God bring clarity, the devil bring confusion.
Oh, when God bring clarity, the devil bring confusion. What do you think we identify mostly with the devil and confusion in this situation?
All this is.
There you go again, bro.
He said, "There you go again, bro."
And so I stand on what I stand on, bro. I draw a line in the sand. You trying to placate to everybody, and
they both drew a line in the sand. If you ask me, that's why they're disagreeing.
Mama, I don't care about
what this lifestyle, that lifestyle. I'm focused on what's better for the people. And one thing that I see is that a two-parent house.
I'm with him on that, but how we translate that is what we need to work on. I'm with him 100% on that. All right, because once a person starts to feel like they're on the side of the devil and confusion, they can't hear you no more, bro. They can't. I know you want to stand and draw your line in the sand and all this and that, but they can't. Should we just forget about Ace and go move on to the next person? What's the point here, right? If we can't get Ace, one of the most influential people, according to you right now, because you gave him this energy, if we can't get him on our side, it's going to be tough, right? If we can't get him to see our perspective by listening to him first, it's going to be tough. If he feels like he's the devil, he will literally act like the devil. Literally.
Household with healthy love is always going to be a child's choice if they have a choice. If they forced to be with one parent, then they will accept that. But if they get to choose, they're going to say, I want two parents in the home, exemplifying love, supporting me. I could talk to this parent about this. I could talk to that parent about this. Life is not about doing what makes us feel good and what we want. Life is about purpose, and it's about doing what hurts sometimes. Life is about doing what we have to do, not what we want to do. Do you think as a man that I just want? It's not that I just want to be with one woman. I have to die out to myself. I have to crucify my flesh for the good of my family, for the good of society, for the betterment of the world. So yes, somebody may want to just hook up. Somebody may be dating to heal. But when they want to do that, we need to be there to say, hey, you should not be dating to heal. You need to heal
before you deal.
You should not be dating to just
heal before you
up,
deal,
because you are having sexually transmitted diseases, and you can catch a physically transmitted disease that alters your life. So it's not about just giving a platform. Not everybody want to live life legally, but we don't need to give a platform to people who want to live illegally.
Facts.
Not everybody want to do half of the things right, but we don't need to give them a platform for the sake of let's let everybody speak when they speaking from their mess.
Yeah.
When they speaking from their brokenness, when they speaking from their pain. So it's a time and a place for everything, and you give a space to people who are doing what is good for society as a whole. It's not just about making money.
Yeah.
It's not just about touring and being famous. And the thing about it is if you're having these conversations every night on tonight's conversation, and the conversation is productive, then you should be able to see one of the multiple millions of women who are qualified to be your wife. So if your own conversations can't help you find your wife,
personal attacks is coming in,
and be married and have a family with your wife, then what is the point of these conversations if the creator can't even benefit from it? So that's my point.
Ace,
brother, hold on. Let me respond to them. See, hold on. No, let me respond to my man.
No, I got you. I want you to give a closing statement here, because we're gonna wrap this one up. And Ace, if you really want to have another conversation continued, we're gonna talk outside of this. But please go ahead and give your closing statement here, so we can continue the show.
What I'm saying is my man right there just throwing a whole bunch of he don't know what he's talking about.
It's personal attacks.
I'm in a committed relationship.
You sure?
There you go.
Brother,
he said you sure. He said you sure. This guy is undefeated.
Shit.
You sure?
I'm working, talking about around. I'm in a committed relationship.
You sure?
I'm working, brother.
This is what do you think this is? This is called shout out to all of you that will see this later on, and you might be new to this. Okay, this is what we call. You go explain because no evidence. No evidence. You go shall I ain't tired. Well, once you're put in a position where you have to explain yourself, you should know that conversation is not necessary. Okay, because there's no evidence. You go shall I ain't tired. You're in a committed relationship. No evidence now, Baba. Oh my God. Key said some interesting windows to the personalities involved. Yes. Yeah. How someone is under pressure says a lot. Pressure. You know exactly what you were trying to do there. Pressure.
Everything I do,
Yeah, pressure. You know. All I want to say here is that this Tony brought some attack here on the single people felt attacked. The single secular people, they felt attacked, you know. And I think Tony needs to let them breathe.
Let's be poor. Let's be poor. Breathe.
Yeah, let the single people breathe. I think we can help each other. They can help us understand what's going on with them, and then we can definitely help them with the experience that we have. But it's going to take a lot of patience on the leadership side, not both sides. Okay, all that both sides nonsense is nonsense. It's stupid. It doesn't work. Whoever is claiming to be the leader will need to be a lot more patient. That's the way it works. Okay.
I let you, every time I start to talk, you want to interrupt. I didn't interrupt you. I let you get your stuff off, bro. I even let you say you got too much bass in your voice. I let you get the whole little rah-rah out. What I'm trying to tell you.
Oh, so dramatic. Hands waving.
My particular issue here is when you speak, brother, you're dismissing a whole bunch of other voices just because it doesn't sound like yours.
Yeah, the dismissiveness.
What I said in the beginning of this conversation is I respect your voice, brother. It resonates with me because that's the way I grew up. So I've been a fan of yours for a while. I was disappointed in your clip though, because what you are saying is I have the only way to make this work. I and voices like me is how this can be more successful. No one.
That's what he's hearing.
Two-parent households. This is something we talk about routinely.
That's what he's hearing, and that's what most people that were not pre-existing fans, fans of Tony, that's what they will hear. They're like, my way, just my way. That's what they will hear. Keep in mind that it's not what you're actually saying that people hear. People hear their own biases. They hear the only side of their brain that works. Okay. He said when it comes to demeanor, I think he's handled himself with a bit more poise and control. He comes across as easier to talk to. Yeah. The reason why I struggle to say there is because I've listened to Tony long enough, and I think it was just, this is not his comfort zone. He's not I don't think he has a lot of friends in the industry. I will probably fall in that same category. Dr. Shala, if you know him, falls in that same category. There's just some of us like that we operate better. We're more consistent when we operate as solo, right? And if we have to do anything else, it will tamper with consistency, and that often can mean a different path, a different trajectory completely, you know. And there's some people like that. Doesn't mean we don't actually have friends. It just means industry friends, right? And Tony is a lone wolf. Right? So when you put him in this space where he's kind of already feeling some type of way, he probably felt like the algorithms are rewarding bad behavior more, right? Those are some of the feelings he brought to the table here. Bad behavior in the terms of is something he's very passionate about, his belief system and his faith, and all of that was basically written all over his demeanor here, unfortunately. And some people say, well, he's just standing on principle. I'm like, nah. I'm not going to give him that easy of a pass because he's a leader. And he knows better. He knows better. There's no way. Tony will watch this back and be like, damn, I lost my cool, man. He will watch it. I know that he will do that. I know that for a fact. Okay? And this young man is going to be like, we got another viral moment. Another viral moment, right? Let's keep going.
On tonight's conversation, no one is disagreeing with safe sex. We talk about that routinely, brother. We talk about routinely heal before you start dating. Find who you are before you link yourself with somebody. Identify your identity before you merge yours with another person. These are things we consistently talk about. My ending thought to you, man, is I would suggest before name dropping, maybe you do a little bit more research. And if you don't want to do more research, then maybe don't name drop. That's all I'm simply saying to you, brother, because I felt like
I'm name dropping
talking to you now. I feel like you even admitted that you're not even tapped in. And if you're not tapped in, why are you giving opinions about things you ain't tapped in on?
Oh, wow.
You the one that brought my name up, brother.
Oh, wow.
You the one that keep bringing up money and fame and all this different stuff when you don't even know why my purpose is this.
That's the
You ain't
thing.
said and had one-
You bring it up first. It's hard for people not to say, why are you butthurt? Like, we're making money, especially in Indomie generation, we remind you. We're making money. Are you jealous? That's what they will say. And me, I completely get where Tony is coming from. I don't think he was prepared for another behemoth of a brand to jump on the platform to compete with him in terms of attention, but I don't think he was prepared for that, and I think that threw him off, I think next time he'll be better prepared, I think he can also use some PR help, he'll be better prepared. He knows better than his conduct, in this situation. He's saying all the correct things, but that goes to tell you can say all the correct everything all you want, but your body language says a whole. He has that bottle in his hands again. He's about to drink another sip again. The water is finished, Tony.
One conversation with me, but you insinuating
God.
on the internet.
Oh, the water never finished. I'm done. Let's keep going.
That's why I'm doing what I'm doing. And I feel like that's disrespectful man to man, brother, because I ain't never spoke ill on your name online. I respect what you doing. Show some respect for other people that's doing similar things just for different people, brother. That's all I'm saying. And if you want to speak like that, cool. But you got to understand people might have a problem with it. And I have a problem because I feel like you're misinformed.
So,
well, Ace, listen, first of all, I appreciate you for coming up here and us having conversations as men that have two different perspectives and still able to talk it out today.
Stop the cap.
Listen, I'm going to hit you up outside of this conversation, but thank you so much for coming up on the platform. Your first time on Harley Initiated. Thank you very much, brother, okay?
Appreciate you, Ace.
All right, this on peace.
Yes, sir.
Oh, wow. Yeah, that was tough.
Stop the cap. How you feeling right now, man, after that conversation? Because I know you haven't spoke to Ace in a very long time.
I've never spoke to Ace.
They've never spoken.
He emailed me. I've never spoke to him. But because he said something. He said, I respect you, brother. I respect what you stand on.
Mm-hmm.
I don't respect what he stands on. And that's what I'm telling him. Like I said, I respect R.C. Blake's. I respect what I respect, but I don't respect what he stands on, because what he's saying to me is that he's more focused on telling every story and having all of these voices. But what I know from panels, I've been doing events, producing events myself since 2012.
Yeah.
So over 10 years, what I know from panels is that the audience typically leaves more confused than they came.
That's a fact.
Because if you ask 10 different people their opinion, you're going to get 10 different opinions.
That's a fact.
So what we have to do as leaders is we got to find our voice, and then we have to use our voice and we speak our message. So he's saying do a deep dive. I'm not going to do a deep dive.
No, he's right about that too. You have to listen to whatever you're trying to help. Not listening to their words, but you need to listen long enough to really understand where they're coming from. And you're not going to do that unless you start from listening to their words, their perspectives, right? All these different things. And a panel is a business model. But I agree with him that panels tend to leave people more confused. It's like the same thing with business events. A bunch of people pitching people from the stage, people will end up spending their life savings at those events and will not know where to start from when they get back home. It's a business model, sadly. It's like the big pharma. Right? But if we want to attack with solutions, we need to be very, very wise about it so that we don't offend the very audience that we're actually trying to help. Because once they get offended, they can't listen to us anymore, right? And we got to find a balance between that and not pandering to them. It's basically patience, okay? It's patience.
Into the kiddie pool. If I see all of these clips and they all are very shallow and surface level, why am I going to give an hour of my life to something that already tells me makes no sense for the grand scheme of things? So it's not about me dismissing voices. It's just that not everybody should be speaking.
I agree with that.
And that's just a fact of the matter. Why do you think we got...
I agree with that wholeheartedly. Not everybody needs to have the microphones. I'm sorry. Yeah. But once they have the microphone, I have to have a way to, yes, appease them to like, give me the microphone. Wait, what? You know how somebody who you know they're irresponsible with a gun in their hands, and you want to like, give it to me, and then they face it back and you take it. You know how the cop, you seen them in the movie, right? And they will pull out the handkerchief and say, and then say, okay, all right, relax. I got you. They're going to jail for the rest of their lives because they already killed somebody, right? But they say, I got you. It's okay. Stay calm. And then after that, you know, that moment felt like they will never be arrested. They say, give me your hand. They put their hands. They put it behind your back and we arrest you. Terrible analogy. I'm sorry. All right. Not everybody needs to have the microphone. Okay. More people, as a fact of life right now, need to be listening more than they're talking. Everything is based off of engagement. All the algorithms are based off of too many opinions. If your video does not get engagement, it's not going to go viral. That means if people don't get to have their opinions, it's not going to go viral. And in one respect, I respect that because that's what we enjoy in the free world. But is there a downside to that solution? Yes, every solution creates a new problem. And that's what Tony is speaking to.
Got one speaker of the house and not 50. Not every voice should be speaking on things that affect people's livelihood.
Right.
Things that people are losing their life over. Things that kids are being bullied and kids are growing up without a parent because of toxic relationship insight. And so the thing about it is if you're gonna have a conversation, you have to thoroughly balance the conversation. And so one of the guys who hit me up, who went on the conversation, was Anthony O'Neill. And Anthony is a single man. So when he hit me up, I'm like, well, why are you bringing Anthony on there? Anthony's single, and it seemed like the other people single. So I haven't heard of like somebody of
Anthony O'Neill. Shout out to Anthony O'Neill. I follow him, not the relationship stuff. I like to hear his insights on finances, business, not the relationship stuff. But then he's surrounded by people like Tim Ross, so I believe it's in good hands. Okay, it's just about having people with all different faces and different experience, and I think that's what the other gentleman Ace was speaking to. Just having all those perspective on deck. I think that goes a long way. I think that's always to be encouraged. If you don't encourage that, then you need to go and live in a village in Africa somewhere and stop acting like you love the free world. The reality is that we need to be patient, that we're going to hear opinions that we know that is just wrong, but we got to be patient long enough to dissect it and get them to understanding, if it exists at all. If you can't get them to understanding, then maybe you're not qualified either. If you're not be patient enough to get them to understanding, then maybe your qualification is questionable too. You know, for every time we point fingers, there's 4 of them pointing back at us, right? Yeah, it's very tricky.
Notoriety in somebody who is proven, who has an audience, who their audience has said, hey, I trust you, and that's why the 1,000, the 100,000 or the million of us are supporting you because I trust you. I haven't seen nobody like that go on there. And so that's my point is, if you in the space and you dealing with relationships, then you need to have the people who done been in the trenches, because if I'm in there.
This is MVST's best-selling suitcase.
When he says in the trenches, he's talking about marriage. I personally think that's a major part of it. The goal is not to be dating. The goal is to stay engaged with a life partner. You can call it whatever name you want. Marriage, blah, blah, blah. If you are dating, at a grand scheme of things, okay, at a macro level, we're talking about societal level, community level, that's what we need to be encouraging. And that's what Tony is saying, okay? There's no need to encourage cheaters, people that will do alternative. They will do it. That's why they call alternative exceptions. They will do it anyway. They don't need your guy like that. But when we set the stage, and we set the stage of just a bunch of alternatives, that's chaotic. That's very dangerous. And you're seeing the results already. You're going to keep seeing them. And that's what Tony is trying to communicate. That's what he's trying to pass along. And I think, you know, all of that message got lost in the sauce of this basketballs. You know, it requires patience. When you have coconut head generation that already know what they know, and they feel they know what they know, and they can Google it, they can chat GPT it, they can ask all kind of robots. You have to be, your level of patience has to be on point, you know. And I'm not talking about his demeanor alone, just the overall. Yeah, he definitely lost it. He lost his cool completely. Let's see.
I'm gonna balance the conversation. I'm gonna let Buddy say what he's saying, but then I'm gonna say, listen, this is what you got to think about over here. You got to think about sexually transmitted diseases. You got to think about spiritually transmitted diseases, these soul ties. You got to think about the person that you sleep with. You could be the straw that broke the camel's back.
Yeah,
this person could come and take your life.
Yeah,
that's what I'm gonna balance it like that, and that's what I am against. I'm against the one-sided conversations that don't have another side that is bringing clarity. Whereas if you're having a one-sided conversation and this side has proven track record, this side has success, this side has stability. So where I'm speaking, and he said, I'm only caring about my voice. This isn't my voice. I'm carrying a message of God. I'm carrying a message of family. This isn't something.
All right. Let's just, I think we did that justice. Let me round up with a few words, okay? Before we round up. I think the main message here is very, very important. The main message here is we all have to be careful, okay? Humility is very hard, particularly for people that are naturally humble, the people that are respected as humble. Yeah, humility is there's certain types. Okay, I'm trying to word it properly, but pride is something we always have to manage, you know. Sometimes you are a man of authority, and you know that position you'll be questioned a lot. People will question your authority, you know. So we have a lot of people saying he doesn't need validation. A lot of people are saying, you know, they should have let him have his platform. Well, here's the deal. That will be easy, right? What we know that it's not easy is that sometimes you're thrown in the middle of crisis, right? He found himself in the middle of crisis, and it was time to handle that, and that required patience. That required self-regulation at a faster frequency, right? As opposed to, you know, you get hit with crisis every now and then. You have to handle every conflict every now and then. But, you know, you're thrown in the middle of this, and to me, it makes sense that he kept referencing demons and stuff like that, devil, and it's coping mechanism, if anything. Okay, it was just a quick yield to fast to. I think they both meant well, you know. I think Ace, his submissions represented the reasons, many reasons why the dating scenes are struggling. A lot of the dating coaches, the very huge one, big guys between their 35 and 45 years of age, we got to look at that situation closer, okay? Respectfully, right? Let me borrow that. We have to look at that situation a little bit closer, and we have to really assess that, you know. Why, right? If that's a good thing, if everybody's happy about it, I'm happy too. If you're happy with it, I'm happy with it. But if you come back to me and complain about your dating scene, I will ask you, who are you following? Oh, I'm following Ethan Speaks. You know, he's got gems. He be dropping gems, man. I'm like, tell me your favorite gems, and you're like, right? And I said, what would he say to this scenario? He never gives scenario. It's all generalized, right? It's just narcissism. It's the devil. It's the boundaries. It's the gaslighting. No examples. To be fair, they do give examples, right? And a lot of those examples will come out, but a lot of those examples will also come out from a person who is also naturally sugarcoating a certain aspect of it, you know. But that's like blaming commercialization or blaming social media. It doesn't work. We're just going to have to be patient and wait for when the person says, you know, it's time for me to individually at a micro level seek wise counsel. We're going to have to be patient for that. And every chance we get like this on this platform, we share what we know, which will still by nature be generalized because it's a public platform. It is what it is. I can only talk at general levels. I do have a lot more nuance than most other people, but still, it's still generalized, right? So, but shout out to Tony Gaskins. What do you think won? That's the question now. What do you think won? Right? I'm going to leave that to the audience. Who do you think won? Let's call it a debate, right? Who are you rocking with? I want to say thank you for rocking with me by being here, by the way. Shout out to Keepers. Thank you for rocking with me. Those of you that woke up in the UK and you're hanging out with me, I appreciate you as well. But among the two, Ace Metaphor, well, I keep forgetting. Tonight's Conversations, and Tony Gaskins. Who are you rocking with? Do you support both of them at the same time? Are you on the fence like me, or you're taking one side? Right? If you're taking one side, give me your reason. Tell me your reasons. I would love to hear that. Okay. Keeper says, I see a sense of grandeur in how he has positioned himself. Maybe because he has overcome a lot of obstacles, but I personally would not be able to cope with such a prophet personality in real life. I think most people were not. I think the religious ones, the ones that have run to Jesus to help them solve their relationship issues, the ones that are praying and watching, not the ones that are praying and working, which is my favorite, praying and working, they will probably gravitate more towards Tony, because he at some point in the conversation, he might call their partner or their ex-partner the devil. Right? I'm kidding. Okay. I'll leave him alone. But, nobody has it all, nobody only pass. But he's made a lot of good points in terms of we need that one voice, not his voice. He kept coming off as his voice, which is where we are hearing the sense of grandeur thing, which is most people, we hear that and they will shut down, right? They will that's why he said he was being dismissive. I agree with him that he's being dismissive. Once, especially a generation of people feel like you're being dismissive, it is what it is. You have to pay attention to that. This is true even in personal relationships. Right? You don't go there and say, well, I'm not being manipulative, I'm not being controlling, I'm not being like... Ask yourself, what is it that they see that they're labeling that way? Because when you start asking that kind of question, you will learn a lot more about how you're showing up. It's not necessarily a matter of your fault. You probably mean well, you probably have good intentions, you probably have the message, but if you don't understand the people you are delivering a message to, it's useless. It becomes useless. You need people. All right, do me a favor, on your way out, hit that like button, share, subscribe, turn up your notifications so you can be notified when we do go live. Don't forget to go to loveandprestige.com, download your free book. All right, hopefully being enlightened and educated. You can see my eyes are closing small. I'll see you on the next one. Peace.
It's your love that I've been missing. I miss all your hugs, your touching and kissing. Make love on the floor, the couch in the kitchen. One love enough, we done enough.